Hello, and welcome to The Backlash, a weekly discussion about America's awakening. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Rebecca Hargraves. I'm the host of this show. See how I mixed it up a little bit there? It was an accident.
That's okay.
Total accident. How are you doing, Dave? Mr. Dave Riley.
It's good to ad-lib, you know. It's good to get used to ad-libbing. I don't have my glasses.
My glasses!
I can't see anything.
You'll be fine. Aren't they just blue light glasses anyway?
No, prescription.
Oh, that makes it less gay.
Slightly.
Oh, we should stop making fun of you. How are you doing, Cameron? Are you excited to talk about Taylor Swift today?
Yeah, I just want to begin the show by prefacing that I am not a Swiftie, but I'm pretty sure Dave is.
He is.
I will have you know that I have not spent the last 3 hours listening to like marathon Taylor Swift records. I will have all of you know.
I know.
I haven't been doing it.
There are some bangers amongst them. I will admit. You can find us on X at Real Backlash, our website, thebacklash.net. Support us on subscribestar.com/thebacklash, patreon.com/thebacklash. Send your super chats that will be read live at the end of our show to, get this, my YouTube channel. You can now send super chats to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, we got my first YouTube super chat ever on my YouTube channel on Monday. I cannot believe it. My channel presently is fully monetized. Wow. I don't know how long that's going to last.
It's a nice recovery after being blackpilled to death by academic agents.
Yeah, we've had a lot of interviews lately that have made me want to kill myself, but I'm recovering. Everything's okay. Everything's going to be fine. You can also send super chats to thebacklash.net/super chat if you would like to do that, and we get a bigger cut of those. Follow us on
all of our platforms.
All of our platforms. Yeah, what do we got? We got YouTube at Real Backlash. We've got Rumble at Backlash Podcast. Find our Instagram, our TikTok on thebacklash.net/subscribe. Please sub to us on all platforms. We're really trying to grow everything.
We just cracked 2,000 subs
on
YouTube.
Oh, okay.
That's
good. Terrible.
Yeah.
But we're at like 13,000
I'm being optimistic.
on Twitter.
I'm like, hey, this is great. This is great. Yeah, honestly, our Twitter hasn't really grown since Vince was running the Twitter.
Yeah.
And that's my fault. I'm not really good at that, but.
Well, we do have an intern.
We do have an intern.
We should use him more.
We should start paying him less and work him harder.
Of course. That's how internships work, right? Thanks so much for joining us today. Thank you to Atlas Bullion Premier.
I don't know if I like the black rims.
Dave, let me do my thing. Let me do the
black
thing.
rims work. I think it's better just without my glasses.
The narcissism.
Oh, wait. No.
Thank you, Atlas Bullion, premier dealer of gold and silver. Idaho Tallow, skincare without endocrine disruptors. Switch the tab. Do the thing. Do the producing.
Busy. I'm producing.
And
I can't see anything. I don't have my glasses on.
Antelope Hill, the people that will publish.
It's in maintenance mode.
Anything.
What is this? What do you mean you're in maintenance mode?
Okay, so they're doing some maintenance. It's no big deal.
It's no big deal. You can still buy their books on Amazon.
Most importantly, let's talk about Taylor Swift. Now, I know nobody wanted to talk about this, but we're going to.
I didn't want to talk about it until I saw how much everybody else in the replies, like they did not want us to do this. And that made me want to do it.
I think it's an important story.
I think I have oppositional defiant disorder.
You do, for sure. Yeah, 100%. We all are dealing with psychiatric problems, except for Cameron, who seems like steady Eddie over there. Just nothing going wrong in his noggin. Taylor Swift, this is the funniest video I've ever seen. Let's watch 2:29 to 3:10.
Well, hold on. We've got to set this up right.
I've got the whole thing set up, Dave.
No, you didn't. For those of you who are unaware, Taylor Swift has come out with a new album called Life of a Showgirl. When was this released?
This week.
October 3rd, 2025. So this week. So she came out with a new album. And now people are responding to the album.
That's your setup?
This is how we set it up.
Okay, this is not superior to what I was going to do. Okay, so if you don't care about this story, you should care about the leftist meltdown that is happening that is truly sublime. Let's do 2:29 to 3:10 on this giant forehead girl. Although I'm sympathetic to her position.
Let's see.
In these words, no, I'm not saying that, but the U.S. has a history of using pop culture to further a political agenda. She's doing what he wants everyone else to do, is to get married and have white babies. What I do know that she can control is the music that she puts out. And I'm just going to jump right into it. Canceled is an anthem for those who are over being politically correct, and we're breaking down the wall of shame that it means to be canceled. Taylor Swift says it's okay now to be canceled, and that's actually cool. And maybe if I'm canceled, I could be her friend. See how that? See where we're taking steps.
Yeah.
When I first heard the lyric,
you guys should all watch this video. It's really hilarious. She just goes into this massive psycho analysis of Taylor Swift's new album. Let's play 2. This one's even better.
These are from Gook Pussy. By the way, everybody, if you want some solid content, follow Gook Pussy on X. Apparently, that's where all the good stuff is.
We're trying to be a serious show here. Go back to the beginning.
Wishlist.
Oh,
yeah,
we're not.
That's track. I have subjected myself to listening to Taylor Swift's new album, and the song Wishlist. Yeah, that's trad wife propaganda. That is straight up trad wife propaganda. Why else would you put a song about wanting a whole block of kids looking like you while we're going through the... I have subjected myself to
So in this song, Wishlist, she says that she wants to have what's his name? Travis Kelce? Travis Kelce. She wants to have all of his babies and not be famous anymore. And she wants to live on a block where everyone looks like him.
Yes.
And so they're saying that this is like her ode to a homogenous neighborhood. Okay, I just want you, have a couple kids, got the whole block looking like you. We tell the world to leave us the fuck alone. And they do. Got me dreaming about a driveway with a basketball hoop. Boss up, settle down, got a wish list. I just want you. And then she talks about living off the grid and makes fun of people that have dogs as kids.
Very true. There's also the other song. I mean, I listened to the whole album, which I probably shouldn't have admitted right now. Oops. Yeah. But it's pervasive.
Yeah.
Throughout the album.
There's
this is why I've got to have the thing up. Where's the track list? I don't have it memorized yet.
You don't have it memorized yet.
Not yet.
Dave loves this album. He's been texting me about it.
Okay, so here's the track listing. For sure, Father Figure has like woman problem issues in it. Actually Romantic is funny. Wish List is the one with the white people thing. But then there's also The Life of a Showgirl. Did you listen to that one, Rebecca?
Yeah.
And so it's like in this song, she's like, oh yeah, like you don't know about the life of a showgirl. It's like really bad. They leave us out for dead, blah, blah, blah. And like, you don't want any part of this. And it's like, actually, yeah. So like you've been grooming your fans for like 20 years, leading them down the garden path of like, be a single woman.
Don't have kids, delay childbearing.
All of that. You can be a boss bitch, blah, blah, blah. And then she pulls this out and is like, yeah, you actually don't want to be a showgirl. You don't want to be a bad bitch. I'm not a bad bitch.
Right.
She says.
That's the story here, though, is that despite living the boss bitch lifestyle, Taylor Swift is going to pull it off. She's going to pull the family life off at age 35. And most women that she has misled are not going to be able to do that because they're not hot billionaires. So, and I don't think that she's actually serious about this. Like, I'm not like a big Taylor Swift fangirl. I think she's full of shit. Don't forget that she and Travis Kelce were huge advocates of the vaccine. I'm sure that they single-handedly are responsible for millions of vaccines. But the story here is that if she wants to retain her popularity, be popular in the future, she feels like it's necessary for her to do this trad wife thing. She sees that the tides are turning and how women always do. They want to go with the flow. They want to get ahead of the curve. They don't want to be viewed as these angry feminists anymore because it's not popular. And I think that is a positive development for culture. I don't have a lot of sympathy for people that have modeled their lives around Taylor Swift's advice, though. So
the problem that you're going to run into, I think, is that with the songs, first of all, they're all very much down tempo compared to the original stuff that she was doing, like, was it 1989? And,
right.
And some of her earlier albums. It's a lot more like down tempo. It's a lot more mellow. The drums are very like lo-fi. It was a very lo-fi kind of record, mellow, as opposed to a pop dance sing-along type record. So the issue is that with all of the previous stuff, there were earworms, hooks. People were singing the choruses over and over and over again, Shake It Off or whatever.
She's got that here.
I don't know if that's as I don't know if that's as complete in this album as it was in her previous album. So I'm not sure if the white libtarded women are going to be able to fully internalize.
Oh, I don't care about that at all.
To stop being bitches.
Yeah, I don't care about that at all.
I would like to see
if
them.
they're all lost, I really don't give a shit. I just care.
I just want them to stop fucking annoying me.
But she thinks that this is how she has to behave if she wants to remain popular. I'm like, that's really important. Hey, Cameron, please talk about this for 40.
Rebecca, please ask me a question about this topic.
Just ad-lib for 40 minutes about how you love Taylor Swift, and this is an important cultural moment, please.
You know, I might need to see Dave sort of like act out in visual dance the changes.
Interpretive dance.
Album. Interpretive dance. Yeah, that would be good. That would be good.
Costumes.
Yeah,
yep.
all the questions that I came prepared to answer tonight. That was
Top of the list.
Not. That being said, I would love to see a collab between Taylor Swift and Candace. That would be dynamite.
Yo.
Do you think this is important at all? Anyone?
No.
All right, fine. That's why I put it in the banter section.
We will see if it's important. The fruits of this album will be brought to bear within 5 months of its release. So we'll see if there is a change in tone in these white libtard women, then maybe this will have been a significant cultural turning point. But compared to everything else that we're going to talk about tonight, this is total bullshit, waste of time, and the listeners are not going to get 14 minutes and 20 seconds of their lives back.
That's true. But we had to get her on the thumbnail. We
had her and Greta.
And retard boobs. Although I am ready for the Greta redemption arc, and I fully support it. Someone just pull into your driveway?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw something reflect in the window.
Oh, God, we're going to get murdered.
Where's my gun?
Let's talk about these Charlie Kirk text threads that Candace released this week. So this week, let's pull up 3, please. This is the Jackson Hinkle tweet. He says, Charlie Kirk, 48 hours before his death, Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Now, these have been confirmed by Turning Point. Can you pull up 5, but we don't have to watch the video. Turning Point USA has now admitted that the text messages released by Candace Owens about Charlie Kirk's alleged blackmail with Israeli donors are authentic. They also confirmed that Kirk wrote a letter to Prime Minister Bibi warning him he was losing public battle. We knew that. Andrew Colvett added that Charlie Kirk was not someone who could be controlled. And we've also, I don't know, I guess we haven't really confirmed these death threats because it came from Candace, but she is bringing some receipts. Let's watch 4.
I'm clearing my throat. Where's the audio?
One more thing, rather
Hello.
Explosively. 3 people told me off record.
She does one of these.
2 people who have this in a written communication from Charlie. One who is a Turning Point USA donor, and I would say very much one of the white knights in this. The very day before Charlie Kirk died, he expressed that he thought he was going to be killed. He told these people, I think they're going to kill me, okay? He did not express that to me, so I am telling you this based off the testimony of 3 people, and I am saying this because I hope that these people, who I think are good, will be inspired to come forward with that. Again, those conversations I had were off record. I honor that. If I say it's off record, it stays off record. But I'm hoping that watching what I am doing and feeling the energy that is rising across the world for people who want to know what the heck happened on 9/10, that, you know, they will be brave and they will say, yeah, Charlie did the day before he died think that he was going to be killed, and maybe tell us, who is they? Well, for once and for all, who is they? Who is the they that he thought were going to kill him?
My thing with Candace, it's always like one truth and 2 lies with her. So she dropped these text messages, which were real, or it was in some sort of TPUSA chat. And then she's also talking about how like Charlie came to her in a dream and all of this other stuff. And it's like, just stick to what we know, what is true. She's just gone too conspiratorial. I mean, this doesn't change anything for me because I suspected this anyway. He was talking about this pretty frankly with Megyn Kelly. And that was right before his death. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not persuaded still, although I kind of disagree with the Fuentes position that Charlie was turning on the Jewish cause because they weren't giving him money anymore.
Right.
This was amazing.
This is the best. This is so funny. Dude, Spinach Bra, you're killing it tonight. Candace Owens breaking the news that Charlie Kirk contacted her in the dream realm from beyond the grave to tell her that Tyler Robinson was not the killer.
Right.
It's like, what's your source on that? It was revealed to me in a dream. Like,
I don't know. This doesn't really change much for me. I appreciate that she's substantiating some of the things that she said, but I'm not sure if I'm persuaded.
First of all, like, she should have put those tweets out immediately.
Right.
Immediately. I mean, she had them clearly. It doesn't really change anything one way or the other. She was clearly milking the I have something you don't have, like she was clearly milking that, which I don't think that served anybody by doing other than her. So she should have released it, but at the same time, we still don't know. I feel like I still know about as much as I knew on September 11th.
Yeah. Which
is like, if I shot somebody with a 308 or a 30-06 in the neck, I would expect their neck to vaporize like a hole. Not like a little, bit hitting the jugular. So have they done an autopsy? Do we have the bullet? There's some shit that I've been reading about the CIA. Vince actually has been writing some articles about the CIA's operation at UVU. They apparently have a pipeline there. Mormon country, that does happen. They've got a big presence in the NSA, CIA, FBI. And so it would make sense that there's something there.
But it also still seems reasonable to me that it was Tyler Robinson.
It seems reasonable that it was Tyler Robinson, but at the same time, it could have been Tyler Robinson having been coached on Discord and like radicalized by like Israeli operatives
or
on
this was
Discord.
allowed to happen.
Or that it was allowed to happen.
Security
we
flaws.
Still don't know. Like, it still doesn't mean Israel killed Charlie. But at the same time, I feel like if we had just had the text messages and had these statements that Charlie had said behind the scenes, that would have made everything look a little less kooky. Now, at the same time, I think I said this in the meeting. If you've been paying attention out there and over like the past 20 years, if you blindly believed every single conspiracy theory that was floating around the right wing, you would be batting 1,000. You would be batting 1,000.
But we need to judge cases on their individual merits.
Now, I'm not saying that is reason to go schizo mode on the Charlie Kirk shooting, but at the same time, the conspiracy theorists have been vindicated. So I am open to that happening. I would love to find out that Israel did it or something. I mean, that would be great, wouldn't it? I mean, I would be the first person out there trying to get Sherman Avenue and Coeur d'Alene renamed to like Charlie Kirk Boulevard. Are you kidding me? But at the same time, there's just still a lot that we don't know.
Cameron, does this change anything for you?
Well, look, I think there are three significant things about this event. The first, and that's setting aside the particulars of what happened. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we never will. Hopefully we do. I don't know. The first significant thing, however, is that this story, like Epstein, is not going to go away. And that's a good thing, right? So it's going to continue to drive interest, scrutiny, and skepticism about authorities. The second is that the JQ or Zionism is inextricably tied to this. So regardless, again, of the actual circumstances or the actual killer and so forth, that issue is tied to Charlie Kirk's tragic death. And that's not going away either. And thirdly, nobody trusts the FBI. Nobody trusts the Attorney General. Nobody trusts the Justice Department. So you add it all up, we're trending in the direction we were before Charlie Kirk's death, except now at an accelerated rate. And that is a very good thing. So one wonders if they did, in fact, if they, meaning the Zionist interest in the United States, did kill him, whatever their objective was, it appears to have backfired.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Definitely. They're losing the plot. I mean, it's, and you know, this is something else. We didn't have this in the outline, but like I was fully expecting to have the shittiest day yesterday. October 7th, getting bombarded with all the propaganda and all the bullshit.
I wasn't, were you?
Not only was I not bombarded with any of that stuff, this is what my entire feed looked like. It was like, happy October 7th. It's the Feast of the Holy Rosary, the commemoration of the Battle of Lepanto, where the Catholics beat back the Muslim hordes. Let's go, October 7th. Never forget October 7th, the Feast of the Rosary. The whole day was just posts like that.
Well, Israel...
Combined with the Charlie Kirk text message validation thing.
Israel is trying to change that, though. Especially if you go to church. Can you pull up clip 6? This guy does an excellent job explaining this whole Farah situation with Israel. So we're just going to watch this clip.
Boop. Come on, you.
It's muted.
Oh, of course. That makes it easy.
Churches throughout the western United States. Last week, the official Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs partnered with, or created themselves, the ownership data is sketchy, an LLC in the United States by the name of Show Faith by Works LLC. As this company is directly controlled by a foreign government, it was required to register under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, or FARA. In the 86-page registration form, the organizers self-described this company as being formed to carry out the, quote, largest geofencing and targeted Christian digital campaign ever. This would be accomplished by geofencing most churches in the region and displaying targeted ads to Christians specifically with reference to the October 7th attacks while they are actively attending a church service, per the paperwork that was filed. Analyst comments for this wire. Everyone is strongly encouraged to read the documentation yourself, as linked below on the official U.S. government website. Overall, what this means in the clearest possible terms is that if you are a Christian who brings your cell phone to church in the western United States, the government of Israel is openly and publicly surveilling your phone and your exact GPS coordinates. If anyone did not surmise such before, this paperwork confirms beyond all doubt that this is occurring. As a reminder, this is not a private company. This is the actual Israeli government purchasing analytics data from American service providers. As such, Christians who bring their phones to church during worship times will very likely receive targeted advertisements to encourage them to think a certain way about the October 7th attacks while in church, as the paperwork specifically states that smartphones owned by Christians will be targeted during worship times. The documentation detailing this campaign is also not limited to churches. The GPS tracking merely starts once a Christian enters into the geofenced area around a church. If a Christian enters a church perimeter but later leaves, the surveillance of their GPS position will continue. The geofencing barriers being placed around churches are merely to identify which smartphones belong to Christians. If a person's phone enters the church grounds on a certain time on Sunday morning, this device can be associated with Christianity, and once that association is made, targeted ads and further surveillance can be undertaken at a later time and place.
Absolutely incredible. And the most incredible revelation from this is that the surveillance doesn't stop. It identifies you as a Christian, and then the surveillance continues in perpetuity no matter where you are, and you're just getting lambasted with Jewish propaganda.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a distinction that needs to be, I think, made here a little bit, and that is that on the one hand, this technology has existed for a long time. I've used it when I was running for office, when I ran for governor, when I ran for school board. I used geofencing to identify people living in the county that were able to vote for me, and I hit them with ads. And it was effective. It is effective. It's highly effective at getting this kind of data and being able to serve ads to people. But at the same time, this is also the first time that we're seeing the Israeli government itself filling out the FARA paperwork and doing it in this way. Before, it's always been Christian churches, it's been nonprofits, it's been charities, it's been this kind of wink and a nod thing, where I guess it's possible that somebody could be deluded enough to be convinced to be a traitor to your own country for Israel, right? Like these dispensational pastors. Is it possible that they don't know that they're lying and that they really believe the shit that they're selling on Sunday? Yeah, I guess it's possible. But this isn't that at all. This is outright Israeli government targeting Christians in America. And what's more about it is, what are the odds? Come on. What are the odds that they are using money that we sent them?
Oh,
money is fungible.
100%.
They are using our own money that we send them to do this. And there was let me pull it up. There was a new study that was just released earlier today, I believe, that the United States has sent $33.7 billion to Israel in the past 2 years, and that $21.7 billion was direct military aid to Israel. Somebody did the math on this, and it was something like $40 million. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it was like a lot of money every day.
Now, we would be fools to think that they weren't already doing this. Of course, they were already doing this. But watching them create a document so comprehensive about the logistics of how they're doing this is truly astonishing. And it reminds me of Netanyahu's speech where he was talking about X. He's talking about TikTok. They've admitted that they're paying people $7,000 a post to peddle Israeli propaganda. They are being so upfront with what it's like. They are not even being subversive anymore. And that makes me worried.
Yeah, here it is. Here's the tweet. Mel did it. Village crazy lady. Shout out to Mel. $45 million a day. That's $4.85 a day for every citizen in Israel. That's like the American taxpayers cutting a $144 check every month for 24 months straight. Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, what is just briefly, Rebecca, it's somewhat interesting. When we talked about 9/11, if you go back to that event, there has been an argument that what we saw, right? So the Twin Towers coming down, the attack on the Pentagon, the panic and so forth, that was just a piece of a broader terrorist attack that actually was stopped in progress. And some of the evidence for that are vans that were detained with explosives in New York City. The allegation is they were going to go to key bridges and blow them up, things of that nature. And what's noteworthy about all of this, whether it's the surveillance of the churches, it's the Epstein, extortion racket, et cetera, is that the three of us and a growing cohort of people online, but especially you guys who've been at this for some time, you thought you really understood that there was a third rail, and that third rail was about Jewish power. It was about Zionism being incepted into the minds of the American people in various ways. You thought it was going on in universities and nonprofits and so forth. And no question that that's true. But it appears as though that's just the surface level, that there are layers upon layers upon layers of this subversion. And my guess is, as we dig further into the death of Charlie Kirk, into Epstein, we're going to discover that there might be an even bigger subterranean complex of Jewish influence, control, and power over the United States government than any of us in the online right even understood over the last 10 or 20 years of research.
How is that even possible?
Oh, it's possible, all right. It's very possible. And we're starting to see some of this stuff come to light, even in Idaho. This was it's not in the outline, sorry. Or I did text this to you. Mm-hmm. Hopefully I'm not going out of step.
Yeah, we put it in the outline.
Oh, okay, good. Casey Whalen, independent journalist here from North Idaho, did some FOIA requesting the other day. And so this is what he got back. These were emails between Republican representatives Barbara Ehart, Bruce Skog, John Schertz, Josh Tanner, coordinating directly with the Foreign Ministry of Israel on coordinating flights. How do I have some questions. When is this? They called it like a study. They're asking like, how do I book my flight? Blah, blah, blah. This is talking about strengthening the unbreakable bond between our two nations. This visit marks a significant long blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. But it is just getting out of control. I mean, there's some more over here. Why is this? There we go. Blah, blah, blah. Hold on.
I think that it's somewhat reassuring, though, that they feel like they have to go mask off to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Although it was she, her in her bio.
Yeah, well, this is one of those things that I'm saying. Like, look at this. Look at this. Like, you're getting invited to Israel by a she-her executive assistant and are supposedly based fucking Republicans, Bruce Skog and Barbara Ehart. I'm looking at both of you. Bruce Skog is the one that introduced the anti-trans legislation. Everyone's like, oh, shit, Bruce Skog is so based. He's going to prevent child gender mutilation or whatever. And here he is. And go check out his Facebook. He is all over Facebook, calling people Hamas supporters. Why don't you come to Israel with me next time? Barbara Ehart, she was one of these ones that was, I pioneered women in sports or whatever, and she's a liar. She's a fucking liar. She lied about me. She lied to Casey Whalen, said that there was no coordination. There was. I think she owes Casey $1,000 at this point.
These people are liars, and they're in the pocket of Israel. I sort of believe that the trans issue has been a Trojan horse.
Yes.
In many ways, just so that people can retain their alliances with Israel.
Yeah, a lot of people. And, I got to admit, I earned the Fell For It Again award.
How many times? How many times are we up to?
Well, it's like you see all of these people, like, Bruce and Barbara, and you're doing great things in the culture war. And then it's like we turn around and find out that they are the #1 Zionists in the state.
Well, no Zionist can be trusted. And I don't think that these measures are going to be effective from Bibi. I don't think that they're going to be able to do anything with TikTok.
No.
My mom was talking to me today, and she's like, they're putting us in an electronic prison, and they're gonna infiltrate and propagandize the youth through TikTok. I'm like, no, kids are not gonna fall for this. Like that is why I'm here for this Greta Thunberg redemption arc. She has weaponized her autism for the cause of Palestine, and it's wonderful to watch. I put this clip in here of her doing something that I thought was very smart, although I think that she's authentic. Let's play this clip really quick.
No, not heroes. No, we are doing the bare minimum. What we are doing is not in any way. No one has to come to the rescue of Palestinian people.
So what if you guys can't hear it because it's really low in my ear. But somebody said, you're a hero. And what she did was she immediately redirected it to the cause. And she has been ruthless, and she has gained massive international attention for this. And I'm here for it. I actually appreciate this. Like Greta Thunberg now, I kind of can't believe what I'm seeing. There was another clip that I wanted to watch that was somewhat astonishing. So this is clip 8. So retired U.S. Army Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson. We've talked about this a lot with Tucker and with other people, placing blame on Israel, And he just comes out and he's saying, the Jews. Let's watch this.
On it. And that became a sort of a policy that people actually tried to put together, that you would use the money and the fighting power of Jews in that region to help you in keeping your empire intact. And it just got passed on to us. And it cost the British dearly, of course. What was the King David Hotel, where they lost a lot of their people because of the terrorists, the Jewish terrorists. Jews have always been the best terrorists in the world. I'm sorry. And I'm not saying Israelis. I'm saying Jews have been the best terrorists in the world.
What?
Yeah. Did you hear this uncomfortable silence after? Everyone's
they didn't even know what to do with that. That's incredible.
That is incredible.
Right,
of course he's right, but I feel like some of these old timers in their old age are like, fuck it, let's just. And you had that story that you told on Monday about the turbo anti-Semite boomer mom.
I've got to tell this again because there are people that don't watch our interview shows. So I
understand.
I went to a friend's house for a cigar the other day, right? As one does. He made some nice bruschetta. I tried it. It was good. The point is, his mother came home from some like Jesus revival event in Spokane.
So she's an evangelical?
No, she's Catholic,
but
it was like a Jesus politics event. I don't really know what it was. Anyway, so she sits down, we start talking, and then Israel comes up. And she starts going, I hate that Netanyahu. He's a war criminal, blah, blah, blah. And have you seen the Jew tunnels in New York? They were smuggling kids in the tunnels. Did you see they had the mattresses with stains on it? And her husband comes out on the porch, right? And he's like, what's she talking about?
The Jews, Larry.
And she was like, I was talking about the Jews. clearly you're not reading my posts clearly enough. And I'm like, holy shit, we've got like based retired boomer moms out there that are like anti-Semite maxing on whatever platforms they're on.
I think it's happening.
Holy
My
macaroni.
question for Cameron is, okay, so they clearly care about controlling the narrative with Netanyahu and the $7,000 a post, with the Farah and the churches. But they are being so brazen about their behavior. Why is there a lack of subversion? Should we be concerned about this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we should be concerned in the sense that one wonders if there's a limit to how far they will go. And in that regard, my concerns are the same as Larry Wilkerson's and everybody else that's paying attention to what's happening in Israel. And that is, will they use a nuclear weapon? That's a legitimate concern. But the reason why they have simply been unfiltered, right? Why they've been so unabashed in the United States is because there's no point to trying to put the mask back on. They've been unmasked. So they're going to go full throttle. Now, that will carry collateral damage with it. What that collateral damage is, I don't know. But I do think that the important takeaway with all of this, and this is a recurring theme that I've tried to emphasize on this platform as much as I can, if you examine it in detail, certainly what we've talked about on this program alone, whether it's these sort of nonprofit entities or it's paying people or it's extortion rackets, what have you, that's the real source of their influence. In other words, the notion that the baby boomer generation or succeeding generations was ever really propagandized to believe a lot of this nonsense, I think that's a distant second to the actual corruption, the bribery, the extortion. That's the source of their power. That's what it is. It's not the propaganda machine. And it does speak, I think, to some degree, to their lack of self-awareness, that they think even at this late stage, when they've killed, by some estimates, 400,000 people in Gaza over the last 2 years. That's 400,000 people, an unimaginable number, and the majority of whom are probably children, right? That they can, by buying a platform like TikTok, somehow magically redirect everybody's attention away from that. If Larry Ellison thinks that he can censor people on TikTok and make it a viable platform, he is sorely mistaken. But that is what they think. So they're in a bind. Their view is, we've got to flex our power. We've got to shift from subversion to overt oppression. That's what we're seeing. I think that's only going to make it a lot worse for them. I think that's only going to stiffen resistance. Obviously, we'll have to see in time.
Yeah, we are seeing that they are miscalculating. And as Cameron reminds us, we are always projecting a level of competence on these Jews that I think they probably do not possess. This reminds me of Israel striking the prison in Iran, thinking it was going to rally the Iranian population for revolution, but they accidentally just killed a bunch of family members and social workers.
Well, there's that, Rebecca, but there's also something else, and that is, people are these mysterious things. We have red lines. You'll experience this in your relationships, whether it's with your parents, your girlfriends, your friends, whatever. People have red lines that really rile them up, that really upset them. And when you experience somebody long enough, you know where those red lines are, and you sort of know just how far you can go. One of the red lines that they've crossed is they've killed people. They've killed a lot of children, and it's been done in a very public way, and they haven't apologized for it. Right? They've just lied about it. And when those red lines are crossed, people, they switch, they flip from tolerant to intolerant, right? It's not a dial. It doesn't happen gradually. It happens just like that. I mean, overnight. And that's what you're beginning to see. Anecdotally, that's what Dave experienced. When those red lines are crossed, all of a sudden the light bulb goes up, and everybody's pissed off very quickly. That's what we're starting to see happen.
Yeah, this reminds me, I saw over the past couple of days, there was a giant, yes, here it is. I was able to, in a timely manner, find the clip. We don't need to listen to the audio. But this was a protest.
How many of these people are Muslim?
Held in Amsterdam. I don't know what the Muslim population of Amsterdam is like, but I don't think
substantial.
It is?
Yeah.
That sucks. But still, I mean, that is like the entire square. Holy shit. That's a lot of people in a mass mobilization.
Gosh, how many people do you think are there?
But the thing is, it's like, it's not just Muslims and it's not just in Amsterdam.
250,000.
It is all over Europe. Yep. It's all over everywhere in the world. Nick was talking about this like the other night too. He's like, so Israel's literally a pariah state in the entire world. The entire world wants them to stop killing children. They want them to stop the genocide in Gaza. Yet the entire world is completely powerless to do literally anything to make Israel stop at all. So what is the conclusion of that? Israel literally controls the fucking world.
Yeah.
The whole world.
Right.
It's
well,
incredible.
I don't know that they're powerless. Again, that's an overstatement, and it's a miscalculation of what's happening, right? I mean, governments across the Western world, I know we're going to talk about France a little bit later, they're losing power quickly.
Yeah.
And I think it's a mistake to assume that large volumes of people protesting in Italy, France, Germany, whatever, has no impact on the elected government. It does. Remember, most elected officials tend to be very meek. They tend to be very cowardly people that follow public opinion. So they're paying attention, right? But we're up against the extortion racket. We're up against the bribery. We're up against the fear mongering that's peddled by the Israelis. I think that the greater danger is that as people turn against them, and bear in mind that I think the Prime Minister of Australia, in addition to other leaders in Europe and in the Anglo world, I think it's happened even in Canada, they have officially acknowledged that there's a Palestinian state, right? This is just devastating to the Israelis. But at the same time, it fuels the paranoia that they already experience, right? It reinforces the notion that everybody's anti-Semitic, which is it's basically their frame of reference, right? It's their starting point. So now that that's being validated, that suggests to me that normal constraints that they would normally operate with, they may be gone, right? And so again, that raises the specter of the nuclear question, or maybe the genocide is amped up even more because that paranoia that's deep in their psyche has been reinforced. It's been activated.
Yeah.
Right.
There is something I wanted to bring up, a little history for the listeners, for all of you out there that want to know more than your neighbor about the JQ. You should look up this group called Narodnaya Volia. This was a Russian revolutionary group in the late 1800s. It was the first group to use dynamite as a weapon. They blew up Tsar Alexander II. They attempted to kill Tsar Alexander III, and it was this group that morphed into the Bolshevik movement, which did kill Tsar Alexander II. And it was members of this group, the Narodnaya Volia, that went on, like Zev Jabotinsky, for example, who was one of these people. He went on to be one of these revolutionary, revisionist, Zionist militants, helping out the Young Turks that eventually went on to found, I believe it was the Lehigh, the Stern Gang, which is one of these groups that blew up the King David Hotel. So to Cameron's point, do these people have limits? No, that's the whole point. They don't have limits. They killed Jesus Christ. They killed the Son of God, hung him on a cross, and then mocked him.
Morally, they don't have limits.
No limits.
But they have limits in materially, which is why they have to use the United States to fund them. I mean, they need us. I do think that Donald Trump probably could do something about this if he were to play his cards right, but he's so deeply entrenched that he can't, and I think he's experiencing some degree of mental deterioration.
Really?
Yeah, we should definitely talk about this. Can you pull up 9? You might not be able to read this because it's a Substack, but I copied some stuff. This is Seymour Hersh, who I know is Jewish. I know, Mom. She's like, don't read this. He's Jewish. I'm like, okay, but I think he's right about this. He was talking about the Trump discussion with Hegseth and how incredibly unhinged it was. So he says, most significantly, I was told Trump, always masterful in dealing with crowds, large or small, is no longer able to read the room, quickly size up the audience, and let his instincts as a showman take over and get the audience engaged. It would have been refreshing and perhaps unprecedented for Trump to outline his views on foreign policy and give the assembled generals and admirals a chance to ask questions for their president. Instead, They got Trump's greatest triumphs. The president returned to one of his most misguided views, that of himself as a settler of wars. I've settled so many wars since we're here. He said, I've settled 7 wars. I've settled so many wars, 7 wars. And yesterday we might have settled the biggest of them all. He was talking about Israel and Hamas. Keep going. Although, are you going to read the next part? You're I don't know. Pakistan, India was very big, both nuclear powers. I settled that. There have been many newspaper reports from around the world disputing Trump's accounts of the issues at hand. A few minutes later, the president turned from discussing his success in solving the problems of military recruiting to a long harangue about a published report that Joe Biden used an auto pen to sign documents and letters while in office. And he talked about that for a long time. So I think that the next clip we have is from CNN, so take it with a grain of salt. But it is a mashup of stuff that Trump actually said, which seems to me is more unhinged than it usually is. Is this CNN?
I've never walked into a room so silent before. That's enough to buy a lot of battleships, Admiral, to use an old term. I think we should maybe start thinking about battleships, by the way. You know, when I walk downstairs, like I'm on stairs, like these stairs, I walk very slowly. Nobody has to set a record.
What?
Just try not to fall, because it doesn't work out well.
This is sad.
A few of our presidents have fallen, and it became a part of their legacy. And it was really a stupid person that works for him mentioned the word nuclear. We can't let people throw around that word.
The N-word.
I call it the N-word. There are 2 N-words, and you can't use either of them. But the firemen go up on ladders, and you have people shooting at them while they're up on ladders. I don't even know if anybody heard that. And I said, don't talk about it much, but I think you have to. Our firemen are incredible.
Good Lord, that's all. Thank you.
Is that it? Okay.
That seems slightly more unhinged than he normally is, but it's hard to tell because he's famously narcissistic and he always goes off on these tangents. But this seems to me, I mean, the man's almost 80. I mean, he's an old man. It seems to me like his mental faculties have been meaningfully diminished.
He's also been like living on a diet of Big Macs and Diet Coke.
Yeah, he doesn't sleep enough. I don't know. Is this just his narcissism? I mean, have we noticed any cognitive decline? Or
he doesn't seem as whippersnapper as he was in 16. That's for, it's been 10 years.
Right. My concern about this is a question for Cameron. So what are your predictions considering the high anxiety state of political discourse and the looming economic crisis if Trump's mental faculties continue in this direction, which they will because he's 80?
Look, so we have some experience with this. FDR was famously incapacitated for certainly the last couple of years where Truman took power, but the press played ball. They concealed his condition. Most Americans had no idea that he was as enfeebled as he was. Today, Donald Trump doesn't operate like Joe Biden. Joe Biden is another example, and the press largely hid that from the American people. Now, I do think that there was more cognizance of Biden's decline. Certainly people on the right, people on the internet that were paying attention noticed that the president was not himself and was probably not fit to be president for the last year, maybe 2 years of his administration. What's happening today with Trump is, I think, a bit more aggressive, in part because his public persona is such an indispensable part of his administration. I mean, he is at the vanguard of his entire party, of his entire administration, leading in terms of communication. So if he falters, if he continues to aggressively decline, which is what I see, it could break his administration. I dare say this because I don't care for the way Donald Trump communicates. I never have. I never thought, to your point, Rebecca, that he articulated clearly, that he ever expressed a real vision that I could buy into. But he's better than everybody else in his administration. I mean, that's what's shameful about the whole damn thing. So I guess the answer to your question is, if this kind of meandering continues and things get worse in this country, and I think we can all agree that that's likely where we're headed, at least in the short term, I could see his administration faltering because of this. Now, obviously, there's constitutional hierarchy. You could see J.D. Vance or somebody like that step in. I don't believe that JD Vance has the wherewithal to be president. Okay. Trump is the guy. He is. He's the man that holds the MAGA coalition together. So if he falters, the whole thing breaks apart. Then things get really interesting in this country's future. Do not assume that something like that cannot happen. Of course it can happen. We're on the cusp of another major war in the Middle East with Iran. We've got warships off the coast of Venezuela. My sense is that we're going to start a war there for reasons that make absolutely no sense. We know we have a fiscal crisis here at home. We have a racial crisis that's getting worse by the month. There's friction between the United States and Mexico, certainly with the cartels. There's a lot going on. It would be difficult for anybody, never mind a president who's 80 years of age. And like it or not, for all these libertarians out there, the people that think that the government doesn't really matter, look, if the president falters, if he goes down, all of a sudden the sentiment, the sense of control in this country, that could collapse. And that's what we're starting to see across Western countries as it is, right? Governments are sort of collapsing. You get somebody in there that's thrown through the meat grinder for 28 days, then they're gone, which is what just happened to the French prime minister. We could be entering into that kind of feedback loop. So I've been saying this for the last 12 months. Trump seems to have held up, but that performance in front of the military, that was pretty embarrassing. And what's sad about it is that it caused a lot of conspiracy theory online, right? We talked about it on our show. People that were questioning why we even had this publicity stunt, why we assembled 800 some odd generals so that Trump could sort of fumble about on stage and beclown himself. The reality is what you saw is what's governing this country right now. There was no ulterior motive. It was just a publicity stunt where the president embarrassed himself. And that's increasingly what his entire administration is. It's scary.
And we're about to find out if there's more embarrassment coming. We've got some breaking news here that I just got on my phone from Rerum Novarum. This is from the desk of Donald J. Trump. I am very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. That means all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed-upon line as the first steps toward a strong, durable, and everlasting peace, blah, blah, blah. So this is in relation to this. There have been peace talks. Obviously, you remember, like a week ago, literally 1 month ago, Israel bombed the fucking peace negotiators.
Right.
They blew them up in Doha, Qatar, or Qatar, whatever you want to call it, however you say it. So apparently there is a peace deal that both Hamas and Israel have agreed to at this point.
That this is never going to stand. It never does.
No, it generally doesn't. But I mean, I'm pointing it out there.
There isn't a peace deal. There's sort of a peace
it's like a
framework.
Ceasefire. Yeah, it's a ceasefire.
Yeah, there's a ceasefire, but the precondition for any peace deal, at least officially, is that Hamas has to disarm. That's never going to happen.
No.
Right? Obviously, if you were Hamas, would you disarm? Of course not.
Of course not.
That's not going to happen. And we know that Netanyahu wants to complete the genocide. And furthermore, we know that he wants to expand the demolition of Gaza to the West Bank, right? So this is not going to stop. It's just a temporary reprieve, in part because Netanyahu is weakened inside Israel. And I think there is some pushback inside of the Trump White House. But to your point, Dave, I think you said this earlier, there just is very meager or insufficient resistance, opposition to Netanyahu. They still have too much power. That means this conflict's going to resume.
Yeah. Oh, and not only that, but if you look at the history of this stuff, Israel has broken every single ceasefire agreement that they have ever fucking signed.
Yeah, of course.
Every time. I mean, if it's not everyone, it's like 98%. So this is not going to last. The
other thing that's very disturbing about all of this too, because I do think that the mental decline is a more important aspect that a lot of people are not paying keen attention to, and I do think that's going to come to count. At the same time, this administration just appears to be shamefully corrupt. So we know that Trump profited immensely from his little Trump coin, which I think is almost certainly illegal. He's bringing his son and his son-in-law on these various diplomatic trips around the world where they're conducting side deals. And that's illegal, right? That should not be going on. And of course, the reflexive answer is that there's a Chinese wall between Trump and his sons and so forth. I'm not sure. This entire administration seems to be a total fraud. It really does. I mean, he's brought in somebody like Howard Lutnick. We've talked about him before, former CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald.
Neighbor to Jeffrey Epstein.
Exactly. This guy is absolutely corrupt. He has no business being in the government whatsoever. Jared Kushner's father, I believe, you can check me on this, Dave, is the ambassador to France. Okay, he's an ex-con. He has no business representing the U.S. interests in France. So, and it goes on and on from there. The bottom line is that this administration, the whole thing is a charade. Right. And I think Trump is melting down in the center of it.
Look at this. This is true. How did I miss this? Chuck Kushner is ambassador to France and Monaco. Remember, he's one of the felons that Donald Trump pardoned in like his last 24 hours in office. Mm-hmm. And the reason why he was a felon, I believe, was because he procured a hooker to set up his
brother-in-law. Yeah. Right? Is that right?
Something like that. It was like really sick and
also,
twisted.
There were some terrible slumlord allegations.
Yeah. And so this is who we made ambassador to our actual greatest ally, France. Listen, they came to our aid during the Revolutionary War, okay? It was the French that helped this country come into existence. Our greatest ally, France.
Well, we should talk about France.
Je ne sais pas. We should.
Well, can you pull up 11?
Yeah.
Oh, man. They're having a rough go at it.
Jeepers creepers.
And I think that this is portends bad things for the Western world in the immediate future. Although the French have been accustomed to navigating troubled waters for many months now, the resignation of their prime minister on the morning of October 6th, just hours after the appointment of his government, took everyone by surprise. Since this bombshell, political reactions have been multiplying in preparation for what comes next. Pressure is mounting on Macron, who is unanimously blamed for the current chaos, even by his closest allies. They've been without a government for a month. The latest polls reveal that 70% of French people want the president of the republic to resign. He is stubbornly refusing to dissolve parliament. The president has allowed the situation to deteriorate further with stagnation and a crisis of confidence. He may no longer be able to escape it, and the longer he waits, the more the opposition will rise up against him and be determined to bring him down. Is this true, Cameron? And why is he so adamantly refusing to resign?
There is something called the great man theory of history. It goes back, I believe, to Thomas Carlyle in the 19th century. And the great man theory of history is basically that all of human history is the product of a small biography of great men. And that these great men, through their force of personality, their leadership, their charisma, for good or ill, that they shape the destinies of nations and civilizations. If you do study history, there is a compelling case to be made from that. I don't subscribe to that theory because obviously there's other things going on. But since Macron was elected in 2017, hard to believe, almost 10 years ago, he has adopted what's called the Jupiter theory. He thinks of himself as the Zeus of French politics. And to some degree, the French system lends itself to that. Some people call it a constitutional monarchy because the Fifth Republic was created by Charles de Gaulle. Charles de Gaulle, a famous French general during the Second War, a national hero in France, and I do think indeed a great man. But he came into politics at a very disastrous time for France. They had 2, 3, 4, 5 different governments every year for a 12-year period following the Second War. And de Gaulle just said, look, we can't do this anymore. What we've got to do is empower the president. We've got to give him the ability, the authority to dissolve parliament. We've got to give him the ability to appoint a prime minister. We've got to give him special powers to keep the whole system together. However, what legitimates that power is the popular support of the population. And in France, they don't elect a president based on the Electoral College. He is directly elected by the people. And so the precedent set by de Gaulle, who actually resigned when he lost a referendum vote himself, was that if the president loses the popular support of the French public that he should resign. Macron, for whatever reason, because he believes in this Jupiter theory that seems to mean that the office of the president is sort of like his monarchical chair. He is the king, everybody else is a court jester. What that means in a practical sense is that Macron doesn't really play politics. He sort of dictates to people. He locks himself off in the presidential palace. He does very limited public events, and he's completely unpopular. And so he's had 7 different prime ministers since he's been president, okay? 7. 3 in the last year, 5 in the last 2 years alone. So his government has completely collapsed. And it's a fragmentation of different coalitions, all of whom basically agree on one thing, that the system doesn't work anymore. All that said, even though you had the yellow vest movements, the Gilets jaunes, shortly after his election, who were pissed off about taxes, then you had the pensioners protesting in 2023 as he tried to raise the retirement age, and you had farmers protesting for various reasons. Even in spite of all of this, he seems dead set on completing his 5-year term, which ends in 2027. What does that mean in a practical sense? I think it means a revolution of some kind. Things are continuing to deteriorate. We know the fiscal situation is abhorrent, right? French bond yields are spiking. And of course, there's all kinds of rumors about Macron as well, right? We know the Candace Owens bit about his wife really being a man.
Not just his wife being a man. It's that his wife is actually his transgender father.
Right.
That's
right.
the actual thing. Sorry.
That's right.
I just had to put
I mean,
that.
in addition to that, there's rumors that he's a flagrant homosexual, right? When I was in Paris for the first time in 2022, the people I met with said that Macron spends all of his time on a yacht with very young men. I certainly have no idea. Could something like that be going on? Sure. But all of this speaks to the vulnerability of the country itself, who it seems has entrusted its authority to a president that's completely unfit. I think we've fallen victim to the same thing in the United States. So there is no political recourse. There is nothing that the French parliament can do to throw him out. Nothing. Short of some kind of a revolution. So that's where I see things going.
So they have no means to oust him forcibly?
No, they can basically, Macron appoints the prime minister, and the prime minister has to get the approval of the National Assembly. Beyond that, no, there isn't much that he can do because he is elected by the French population.
So they just had some kind of gentleman's agreement that they would step down if they lost popular approval.
Yeah, it's a precedent. It's sort of like Washington's precedent, stepping down after two terms, right? It wasn't specified in the law, but that's the way a lot of these things go. There is a precedent to things. There's a custom to things. So we're headed into very dangerous waters because Macron seems intent on staying his course, and the population is getting angrier and angrier and angrier. At the same time, I would say 3 things, okay? This is basically what is happening is, number one, France has got to leave the European Union. Macron was elected to keep them in the European Union, right? He was elected to smooth out a very fractured relationship with the European Union. He's doubled down on staying the course. So that's off. Second is the Muslim problem, the foreigners, the mass migrants that have taken over whole cities across France. That problem must be dealt with. And nobody in the political sphere, including the supposed right-wing party, the National Rally, has any plans to really deal with that. And then thirdly, they need to end the Fifth Republic. They need a new form of government, just like the UK, I would argue, just like here in the United States. I mean, this is how big the problem is. But however you slice it, there is nobody in a position of political power today in France that is going to solve any of those problems.
And how do you think it's going to play out in terms of the spreading throughout the Western world?
Well, if you go back to the French Revolution, which I do think is the precedent we really need to use to think through where we are politically. Remember, that's where the terms left and right come from, right? People that sat to the right of the king were monarchists. They supported the Catholic Church, right? They did not want revolution. Everybody on the left, they supported revolution. A lot of them were crazy communists. It is within that framework that we still live today, more or less. The French Revolution completely electrified and transformed the continent of Europe, right? There was fear across the European world because after the French king went down, right, after Louis XVI was not just removed but killed, that was in the most powerful monarchical state in Europe, with the most powerful army, with, you could argue, the largest middle class and one of the wealthiest countries in the world. So when that happened, it was just a total shock to the system. What you could see happen today is a repeat of that. If Macron goes down, if the Fifth Republic collapses, which is something I've been writing about for the last year to 2 years, I think that will terminate the European Union. In other words, it'll create a contagion. Then you could see Stammer's government fall in the United Kingdom. You could see Merz's government fall in Germany. And you have to remember, all of these governments are basically in the same position. It's a coalition of people who all hate each other or won't work with one another or have absolutely no vision for how to solve the key problems that I just outlined. And remember, they're all basically the same no matter where you go. In the UK, they may not be in the European Union, but they have this massive invasion of foreigners. Nobody in any of the major parties, including Reform, has any plans to deal with that. They equally have a budget crisis. In the UK, they have a very similar problem in Germany with deindustrialization. There are no answers inside the political system. That means that those answers are going to come from outside the political system, and that's usually pretty bloody.
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, dear French people, here's your solution. This is it right here.
We
Hello.
don't advocate violence on this
Not
show.
in America. Not in America, not against Americans. Absolutely not. Would never do such a thing.
This is what happens when the population feels like their back is against the wall and there are no political solutions, which there clearly aren't for any of our countries. We're about to talk about America in a second.
I also feel obliged I do feel obliged to come out that my family fought against the French Revolution, almost died for it. I'm not a fan of the French Revolution.
No,
I do think it was a disaster.
It was a disaster.
And it led to a lot of other disasters, of which we are living through right now. I think the world would have been better off if the French Revolution never happened.
It should be learned from the French Revolution.
Yeah, but at the same time, fuck Macron. Let's get this going.
A little more of that.
Started.
It's all true. The only thing I would say is, because I did watch some of the interview with Academic Agent, who's obviously an intelligent guy and well versed in a lot of the subject material. But the problem with his content and the problem with a lot of these folks is that they're looking for solutions inside of a political system that cannot offer them. The political system itself is the problem, right? And by the way, I would argue that is exactly the case in the United States too. Maybe the source of that problem is slightly different. But the fact of the matter is that whether you're talking about the Fifth Republic in France, or you're talking about the constitutional form of government in the United States, you're talking about parliamentarianism in England, all the parties, the elites that govern all of them, and obviously we talked about the subversion of the Jewish power structure, which basically wields an umbrella-like power over all of these governments, as we know. All of that has to be done away with for anything productive to happen. The good news is that as the political system careens into a ditch, it delegitimizes itself. And then you're going to see the population force a lot of the solutions that we've described. That's coming. And that's going to transform the Western world in ways that I think will reverse a lot of the damage that was done in 1789 when the French Revolution started. In other words, you could see an inversion. But that takes some imagination. You got to look outside the political system. You got to look at what's happening on shows like The Backlash, right? Where we are talking about what's really happening politically in the United States in ways that people on Capitol Hill, not only are they not talking about it, they have no idea what the hell is even going on. They can't even imagine what we describe on a weekly basis.
And
Yes.
to the extent that they don't know what's going on or whatever, you pointed and I lost my train of thought. I was going to say, to the extent that they don't know the problems that we face, the ones that do know about it say that they don't exist.
Right.
It's crazy, but it's,
That's right.
But it is breaking. I mean, I'm starting to see it in like certain financial podcasts that I watch, TFTC, Marty Bent, for example, I think just last week they sat down and basically I was like, holy fuck, I'm listening to the Backlash right now. Like they're talking about the race problem. They're talking about the Israel problem. They're talking about all these things. Like this is a mainstream financial report or whatever. It's not some like fringe conspiracy theory thing. And they're sitting there talking about all these issues and validating them.
Right.
And so it's like, no, these are actual problems. And to the extent that these people will deny their existence or are oblivious to them, fuck them. Anyway, sorry.
I'm not saying that Academic Agent did that. We did do an interview with him last Thursday. That was October 2nd. So check it out on my YouTube channel, on our Rumble channel.
Why are you promoting your YouTube? Say the Backlash.
It's doing so well, and I'm self-interested. I don't know what to tell you.
Go to all episodes.
Or our website.
Right there.
I did want to talk a little bit about what Academic Agent brought up. Can we play clip 15 and then after that clip 16?
Clip 15.
Yep.
Oh, we're skipping a section?
I'm gonna circle back to it.
Circle back like Jen Pisak? All right.
Are probably more retarded than the American one, which is saying something, right? But this is where people have got like, oh yeah, that could never happen here because of First Amendment, and Trump will never do that to us. I mean, listen, they're telling you to your face they're going to do it. When Curtis Yarvin gets up there, literally backed by these guys, and says, "Oh look, what we want is a kind of tech oligarchy." New monarchy type thing. He's talking about these exact same people.
Oh, right. We watched a clip of Netanyahu yesterday.
Telling you to your face, we are going to build this.
Yes,
and it's going to be feudal, and you're going to love it.
Let's go right into clip 16 if possible.
That is not possible.
And then we can discuss these as a pair.
Yes.
Things you have to understand is that online politics, right? By which I mean this show, my show, tweets and things, aren't actual politics, right? It's a kind of form of shared entertainment, or but it's not, cannot substitute for politics, because politics is always organization. Lots of it is boring. It's logistics, and it has to be an organized minority, or you might say a vanguard, right? And it has to be in the real world. So there's a two different set of incentives, right? Because if you want to start a political movement, okay, what you're looking for is a dedicated, tight-knit group of people who all think the same thing, who are actually going to be prepared to roll their sleeves up and do stuff in the real world. That is all, politics ever. Revolutionary movements, and even just normal political parties. That's what politics is. Online streams, online shows is different. So if you want to maximize your audience, if it's just about eyeballs, then you can just say stuff that's going to please the audience, right?
In all fairness, I think that the question that I asked him was about Candace Owen and slop. And I didn't disagree with him at the time because I find him incredibly intimidating. But I do disagree with this to some degree. I think that we are all creating a political discussion that needs to be had in a way that actual politicians aren't. And it sounds like he wants to use solutions within the system. I don't want to mischaracterize him, but none of us are really interested in that. But political movements do start, or not start, but they have to end with people getting together on the ground. That much I do agree with.
Right.
Well, let me ask Dave this question, because of the three of us, Dave is, I think, sweat the most political blood. Dave, do you think, as the producer of the Backlash, or maybe your time with E. Michael Jones, your time as an online personality, do you think that you've had more or less influence than when you ran for political office?
Good question. Man, that's a good question. I don't.
Oh, come on.
I think that I had more influence when I was working for E. Michael Jones, because I was able to, that was the whole point of working for him, was it was like, which way's the wind? Okay, let's get the kids, let's get Nick hooked up with E. Michael Jones. Let's introduce these kids to the Jewish revolutionary spirit and some books that'll actually open their eyes to this stuff, fact-based, well footnoted works, not just, some guy wearing a skull mask on Twitter or whatever. And the point was to push a message to a small group of hyper-motivated kids, basically. And in 6 years, look at what that has become. You know, his magazine went from being targeted to like mostly dying boomers to being patronized mostly by younger people. And that had, I think, a profound impact on the culture. And then also the little stunt with Turning Point USA, they closed something like 9 chapters of Turning Point USA after I asked my question about homosexuality. That was significant because all of these kids in Turning Point were like, wait a minute, we're not going to stand up for Christian values. We've got to do this gay stuff. I'm not doing a chapter. I'm resigning as chapter leader if that's the way that this
obviously have influenced more people through online activism.
Yes, but at the same time, like there's still a lot that needs to be done locally. It is a little bit tougher. It is more difficult. And it's funny you're mentioning this. Just today, I was in the newspaper again. This time was in some endorsement article, right? They're talking about this douchebag, Ed DePriest, who's running for city council again in Hayden. He's running for re-election. And they said this is an op-ed in the paper saying that Ed's direct approach in addressing misinformation from the opposition and his willingness to stand up to public figures such as Dave Riley reflects his dedication to truth and transparency. By the way, this is who we are fucking talking about, okay? This guy who goes around sig heiling at meetings. Now, he's a libtard, okay? He is a libtard, loser, lying, bald grift. Oh, absolutely. He's involved with this North Idaho Republicans group, which is run by Krista Hazel, the daughter of the FBI agent in charge of Ruby Ridge. But the point is, like, he literally goes around like Hail Hitler to people like this as like a protest, I guess, against right-wing politics. I don't really understand the guy. He's kind of a nut job. I don't understand how he won in the first place. But yeah, I mean, running for, with running for governor, that was also for like a very specific reason. It was to bring about a dialogue about something called crossover voting, which we did. I also helped get Joe Alfieri and Elaine Price elected. They won by margins of about 50 people that I forced to go back to the Democrat Party. So there were strategic victories in what I did at the time that did help, that was helpful, but not nearly as globally impactful as online discourse, online activism.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not.
No,
this is why Tucker Carlson has said repeatedly that he's never going to run for office. Yeah. It's like, I'm obviously influencing more people on my platform. Yeah. And I think it's important.
Didn't Josh Hammer just yesterday call Tucker Carlson the most dangerous anti-Semite in America?
Really?
Yeah.
Was Josh Hammer the guy that was in the Charlie Kirk?
He was the one in the group thread. He was the one that said public executions are based like 6 hours before Charlie got killed.
Oof.
Oh, you didn't see that?
No.
Yeah. Josh Hammer went. I can pull up the tweet later. He found this like 10-year-old tweet from Donald Trump, pulled it off, dusted it off, and retweeted it and said based. And the next day, Charlie Kirk died. And the tweet was talking about bringing back swift public executions.
I don't know. That's a little on the nose.
It's a little conspiratorial, but
that's probably a very unfortunate coincidence.
But also, fuck Josh Hammer.
Oh yeah, totally.
I don't care. Anyway.
I don't know. I mean, I think that we're all in our...
Sorry, that was a very long-winded answer. I apologize. Cameron, back to you.
Short answer is obviously online. Back to you, Cameron.
No, I was just going to say, let's take his assertions one by one. So the first is, he said that the online right is retarded. Now, obviously, I know he doesn't mean that literally. I think he means that there's a lot of slop, right?
And there's
a lot of sort of erratic, undisciplined thinking. Well, of course, that's always the case early on in movements, particularly movements that are dissenting against some kind of authority, right? This is well documented throughout history. The people that are attracted to movements for change tend not to be winners in the system that they're trying to change, right? So what I did when I left the corporate world in 2019 was truly shocking to a lot of the people that I knew. I had a 6-figure job. I had a nice apartment, a nice car. I was upwardly mobile, right? And before I turned 40, I would have had a great career, making 200 or 300K a year. I would have had a 401k like a proper adult, right? I probably would have moved to the suburbs, gotten a stupid fucking dog, and barbecued on the weekends and all this other crap that you guys like to do. No offense intended.
Hey, wait a minute.
But
Just because I had a fire
that.
last night. Come on.
I chose not to do that. And I chose not to do that because of personal motivations, because of vision that I have of the future, because of certain things I experienced in the system. And I think you guys are very similar to that. Both of you are relatively successful individuals. Obviously, Rebecca, you went to Wall Street, you worked inside New York City. Dave, you've been a radio personality. But for the most part, people that are well acclimated, that are socially upwardly mobile, those kind of folks do not dissent, at least not initially. So yeah, you do tend to get a lot of cranks and conspiracy theorists, so forth and so on. However, to Dave's point earlier, a lot of those conspiracy theorists seem to have been correct. One of whom, Alex Jones, has a giant media platform today. 20 years ago, who would have bet on that? Probably nobody. So I take issue with this notion that people are retarded. And on three particular issues that I think are the defining ones of our time. Number one is that democracy doesn't work. That is gaining momentum every quarter, every month, every week. That's not my opinion. All one has to do is look at the polling data. Polling data supports that, especially as you go younger. That doesn't demonstrate a lack of understanding what's going on. That's number one. And that's powerful because the democratic system, as we understand it, yeah, it's broken. It has imploded for all kinds of reasons. The second is race realism. I send you guys Instagram reels every day, usually of some kid who's posting Instagram reels about black crime in some city in the United States or about Muslims in Europe, right? It has gone completely viral. That's not retarded. These are people that are awakening to the destruction of our Western Christian civilization who realize that we're facing an extinction level event. And all of a sudden, despite the suppression of 50 years, the re-education, that's all disintegrating before our eyes. That's not retarded. The third is the JQ. And the JQ has achieved mainstream talking, discussion. It has achieved a kind of mainstream legitimacy that even 2 years ago was impossible, right? I think Dave said earlier that Nick Fuentes was on with Dave Smith. We have come very far, very fast, because these issues are real, they're serious, they're substantive, and people want to know about them. To his second point, what we do on this program, oh, that's not real politics. That's a little bullshit. He's got it exactly reversed. What's not real politics is standing on the stocks midday lecturing in Parliament. That's a bunch of bullshit. That's a grift machine, right? That's a bribery factory. That's the true black pill, if ever there was one. What we do is incredibly political. We've spent the last month talking about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk wasn't an elected official. Charlie Kirk had an organization he did called Turning Point USA, but he spent most of his time making videos, interviewing people, doing debates, not an elected official. Virtually everything he did was political, and some would credit Trump's election with Charlie Kirk's energy and his enthusiasm for MAGA. I wouldn't go that far. Many would. What we do is incredibly political and powerful. That's why Larry Ellison wants to buy TikTok. That's why Media Matters and all these other left-wing groups surveil what we do and want to censor us from these platforms, because what we say and what we do is not just a dissenting political voice, it is also an organizational structure. The Backlash itself is an organization, right? It is an incorporated entity, and it has affiliates all around it. Everybody that's watching this or listening to me is an affiliate. That is a political organization. The final point on this is, look, we are now entering into a very different kind of politics. And admittedly, it's very difficult to understand, right? Because it's sort of imaginary, right? We're talking about scenarios that are difficult to envision, especially if you're an educated person, you go to Oxford University, you read books about how politics is supposed to be. Look, that world, if it ever existed, it's gone. It's gone. We are in a different environment today. And as I keep saying, what has happened in the online community since the emergence of the manosphere, the Groyper community, right, the alt-right, the alternative media, all of these things, is that now that's beginning to mobilize at the street level. What we have not seen yet is a coherent organizational structure for that energy. That is coming. And it's coming for the very reason academic agent says it's not. Because no matter what we do, no matter who we vote for, we get Tony Blair or we get Donald Trump and we get the grift machine. That means that the political system is no longer an escape valve. It's no longer a release for all of the pressure points in society. That's going to make things explode like a geyser. That's where we're headed.
And because this lends to an important question, because the government in all of our nations, in all Western nations, is so incompetent, such a bloated bureaucracy, are they even under moral or legal obligation to help the resurgence of Western values? I mean, I'm not really sure that we need the institutional help or that it's not going to backfire spectacularly. So I guess my question to both of you is this in our hands? Is this in all of our hands? And we can't rely on the government or expect the government to help us, to protect us in any way?
Let's start with Cameron.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, I said I wanted to start with you. I want to think about it. I want to hear what you have to say so then I can say something smart.
Well, we talked to Daniel McAdams this week, and he was talking about the limited power of the state. We talked to Academic Agent. We've had all of this information come out about ICE this week and government overreach and sanctuary cities. And it's like, at what point should we expect and trust the government to step in? They're so unreliable. They're unequally enforcing justice. There's a 2-3-tier justice system. I mean, what can we expect from them? Nothing. No, I mean, I guess I'll go first. And this answer is going to be very tainted by what I did yesterday. So my daughter had a little pilgrimage or whatever, right? She went, the oldest building in Idaho is the mission at Cataldo. It was built in like the 1800s by Father DeSmet and some Indians. And so the school that my daughter goes to had a little pilgrimage there. You know, all the girls from all the grades, all the nuns, a couple of priests. I was a chaperone. It was great. And watching these little girls go up, singing songs, praying the rosary. They went to mass. They sang hymns afterwards, folk songs. They had lunch. They were playing around. And it's like, this is the future. You know what I mean? This is where it's at. The Western values thing hasn't been defended by the government, hasn't been defended by the Constitution. The only thing that can possibly defend and transmit Western values is the family. It's the family. That is the basic building block. It's like the white race is not going to die because I'm not going to let it die. Should they have any role? Should the government have any role in the protection of these values?
Yeah, hell yeah, absolutely. It should. The government should exist to defend our way of life, to defend our values, to defend our religion, to defend marriage, to defend life. Absolutely. That's what the government should be doing. But that's not what it has been doing for a very long time.
So what role should they play in the current state of affairs?
The government should die, wither away, and make way for something that will actually fucking work.
We would be better off.
We would be better off. I mean, the government's been shut down in America for what, a week now?
My life has been totally the same.
Completely unaffected. Completely unaffected.
I was like, the government shut down?
Yeah, no, it's like, okay, are we saving any money? No, we're adding, anyway. Yeah, the government has basically zero bearing on this. And I think it should. I think that it should. I think the government should care what people do in the privacy of their own homes. Yeah, sure, absolutely. You're making like child porn or something? Yeah, we should fuck you up. But that's not what the government does. The government is this bureaucratic machine that exists to enrich these cantillionaires that are closest to the money printers. And that's what everybody's sick of. That's what has to stop. And yeah, I mean, Cameron's been talking about this for a long time, and when you put this together with the financial system and the financial issues that we're facing today, I mean, I've got a tweet up here that I was saving for later. For the first time ever, or at least in a very long time, foreign central bank reserves have more gold than U.S. treasuries.
Whoa.
That's crazy. And so what we're seeing is this kind of renegotiation of the basic social contract, a renegotiation of what the fuck is money, a renegotiation of what is acceptable for a government to do in the form of this Israel debate.
Right.
So we are at a very big inflection point that it hopefully is as big and as important as Cameron has said, that this would be this kind of pivotal moment where we turn back from the errors of democracy and equality and fraternity and all of this, the siren song of the French Revolution, where we throw that yoke off and go back to something that actually works. That's my answer. I don't know if that answered anything.
It did. Cameron.
Okay, so Abraham Lincoln said that the dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. It's a fancy way of saying the old shit don't work. Okay, there was a Supreme Court case, goes back to 1997, Prince versus United States. Dave probably knows about this one. This was the Supreme Court ruling in favor of a local chief law enforcement officer that challenged the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act, which required them to do background checks. All right, this is sort of a Trojan horse to implement gun control across the country, as the Democrats, the left, whatever, have attempted to do for some time. The Supreme Court sided against the government and basically said to the sheriffs, you don't have to conduct background checks. But in the opinion from the court, Scalia wrote the following. He said, because there is no constitutional text speaking to this precise question, the answer to the chief law enforcement officer's challenge must be sought in historical understanding and practice, in the structure of the Constitution, and in the jurisprudence of the court. So the implication being there are three sources of authority answering this legal question. The first is the historical understanding and practice. The second is the structure of the Constitution. And the third is the jurisprudence of the Supreme Court. Now, what is the present situation that we find ourselves in? We have tens of millions, probably upwards of 50 million illegal immigrants who have invaded our country, who were brought here at the behest of a government that's been subverted by, at the very least, foreign powers and residents who are hostile to the interests of the American people, white America, who they hate, who they want to demographically erase and disempower. So these people have been brought here against our objections, through no legal process whatsoever, in many respects, with the negligent, with the tacit approval or the implicit or expressed approval of the government itself. Does that lend itself to calling upon those three authoritative sources to solve it? Historical understanding and practice, the structure of the Constitution, or the jurisprudence of the court? Of course not. We are in a completely different environment. And so we have federal law enforcement agencies like ICE who are going into American cities, whether it's Chicago or Los Angeles or Portland, and they're being overwhelmed by foreigners who have infiltrated our society and are now weaponized against us because our constitutional framework of government is flawed and legitimates them with the rights of citizenship, which we did not give them, nor did we elect our officials to give them. This is the nature of the situation we are in. In other words, it demands a concentration of power to reverse that egregious offense against our rights, against our inheritance, against our very identity as Americans. Unfortunately, we're faced with a lot of libertarians, like Judge Napolitano, among others, who want to reference these three sources of authority for a situation that's so bastardized our framework of government that it threatens our very survival as a people. So what we must do is we must completely change the constitutional framework of government. We've got to take extra constitutional powers to solve this problem. If we play by the rules that they have set, we will lose. And of course, that is the assumption of the very people that put us in this position, that they would condemn us to the legality of the illegality that they have caused in the first place. It's not really a conundrum that we cannot disentangle. It requires power and the force of the law. And Donald Trump, as inept as he may be, is taking steps in that direction. That is ultimately how this is going to be resolved. And the final point on this is that either we're going to do that and we're going to get our country back, or it will be done to us and we disappear.
Yep. I'm really sick of hearing the libertarians talking. What if you're, Dan McAdams did say that, I think he mentioned something like this idea of well, if we forge these weapons that we're going to use against our enemies, well, then 4 years they'll use it against us.
Oh yeah, he said that, and I was like, they don't, because we were talking about
but they always do it. They've been doing it.
Daniel McAdams in that episode.
I love Dan, by the way. Great episode.
I said that we should have no mercy on our enemies because we were talking about how we've gotten a bunch of people fired for the Charlie Kirk thing. And he's like, well, anything that you use now is going to be used on you tenfold in the future. I'm like, you think that these people are practicing moral temperance?
Well, but this is the thing. They canceled us.
Yeah.
I got canceled in 2017 before I even knew what fucking cancel culture was. So this is us doing it back to them. They've been using the FBI against us.
This is another way that libertarians project their sense of morality on other people. I am not going to behave well with the belief that it will force somebody to behave better in future. That's not how this works. They're playing to win. We need to play to win. And if that means doing things that are extrajudicial or outside of the Constitution, absolutely we have to do that. These things have not served to protect us, so why should we use them to try to protect ourselves? It's retarded.
Look what happened to Bob Matthews. I'm going to get myself in trouble. with this.
You're always in trouble. Who cares?
Look what happened to Bob Matthews, right? For those of you who don't know, Bob Matthews, I mean, granted, I'm not a follower. I don't know him. The order was kind of a weird Mormon thing. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Obviously. But at the same time, the guy didn't even, from what I understand, have a warrant out for his arrest. And Wayne Maness and his group of FBI agents burned him alive in his log cabin on Whidbey Island.
Good Lord.
No fucking jury, no judge, no sentence. He wasn't found guilty. They burned him alive. And then they shot Vicky Weaver in the head. They shot Sammy Weaver in the back. They went to the Montana Freeman. They've been doing this for decades, extrajudicially murdering people on the right that share some similar ideas.
Right.
And so then the idea that we can't use the government to go after the people that, for the past 50 fucking years have been going after us. Come on.
And what predates all of this, okay, so they will allow this kind of extrajudicial justice when they see it fit. What predates all of this is the creation of the ADL.
Yes.
Based on Leo Frank, who was convicted and then unfairly acquitted, and then a lynch mob killed him, which I would argue is not even extrajudicial because his acquittal was unfair. Now that created the ADL, which they've been using to weaponize us, to keep us in this box of using the legal system only.
Yeah.
And that's the basis of the left, of all of these Jewish lobbies. That's what they believe. But they'll do this shit to Vicky Weaver. Right. They'll do it to us. I'm not playing these games anymore. I'm not going to do it.
No, I mean, I've been going back over Zoomer Historians stuff.
Oh, Zoomer Historians just the best.
And it's I would vote for an enabling act. Abso-fucking-lutely. You're telling me that I could actually put, I could get a guy to do what I want to do, and I could vote to remove all of the barriers from him doing what I want him to do.
Yeah, fine.
I would absolutely do that.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
In a heartbeat. And so the problem is that Donald Trump is not that guy. Donald Trump is not the guy. J.D. Vance is not the guy. I don't think we have until 2036 for Nick Fuentes. Who's the guy? Where's the guy?
But even the president in the current situation would be so bound by the bureaucratic norms of the government that I think that they would be rendered basically powerless. I'm not really sure. I don't want to let him off the hook, but I'm not really sure how much Donald Trump could do, even if he were highly motivated.
That's a good, I mean, you both raise excellent points, right? So absolutely, Rebecca, you're right. Why can't Donald Trump do the kinds of things that would enable the solutions we're talking about, to use Dave's term? Because the system that elected him won't permit him to do it. If you play in the sandbox, you're going to get sandy, right? So you can't play by those rules. In other words, we can't elect our way out of the mess that we're in. You're 100% right. Dave, you're also correct, right? There is no, and this gets to the overarching theme here, there is no legitimate authority that can facilitate the kind of change that we need from inside the political system. However, the good news is, and here I think it's important to go back to Max Weber, because Max Weber, for those of you who don't know, is basically the forefather of social psychology, and he wrote a ton of stuff, Protestant work ethic. I highly recommend you take a look. He also wrote a lot of interesting things about the United States, one of which, Dave, if you have not read, you should read. It's called Churches and Sex in the United States, Churches and Sex in the United States, which is an argument in favor of everything you have ever said about the United States, namely that we are not just a Christian country, but sort of a fanatically Christian society. It's worth a read. In any case, he said there are three types of authority. One is traditional authority, and that's exactly what you think it means. It's sort of legacy authority, right? Maybe it's the authority of a church or a father or of a religion itself. Then there is legal rational authority. Legal rational authority is the kind of authority that we're talking about with the president, right? Or with the rule of law as we understand it. Those two sources of authority, as I alluded to earlier, they're invalid. They've been delegitimized for all kinds of reasons, right? And the discerning among you know that. Most of our audience knows that. That's why you're listening to us talk about that. But there's a third kind of authority, and that is charismatic authority, right? And charismatic authority bestows authority on certain individuals based on extraordinary characteristics, right? Now, that's a vague term, but basically what it means are people or structures that emerge that facilitate mass mobilization, that create in that vacuum of authority new kinds of organizations that then can replace the old authority, right? Another way of looking at this is that as the legacy system goes and the founding fathers, the mythical or the founding ethnos, as I would say, loses its authority, you then enter into a new environment, which you have a new sort of elite that emerges to reset society. We have had that done to us since the 1960s, okay? That's why the constitutional framework of government, as I've said, is delegitimized. But now that whole system is breaking down. So a kind of charismatic authority is emergent. Now, the final point on this, and what I'm trying to convey to all of you, is that most people think about these things in terms of a man, right? Going back to this great man theory of history. Try not to think about it necessarily as just a man, but as a structure or as a monetary arrangement, like Bitcoin, a technology, okay? We're entering into a new world in which revolutionary change is happening across the board, and that will fill that vacuum. It will create a new kind of charismatic authority in of itself. Doesn't mean we're not going to have leaders. We will still have leadership. That's vital, right? To empower us, to envision the future, to give us marching orders. All that sort of thing is going to happen too. But think more in terms of how we're going to organize ourselves, how we use and leverage social media, artificial intelligence, right? How we use technologies like Bitcoin. That's going to define the future of this country. And the good news is the legacy structure is clueless because they're so entrapped by the grift machine that they created 50, 60, 100 years ago.
Absolutely.
That's where we are.
That's a good discussion, Phyllis.
Yeah, I think so.
Get your last minute super chats, $10 and up, to thebacklash.net/super chat or to my YouTube channel. Can't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big.
It's going to be
We're going to lose it soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee.
This might be the last one. Who knows?
That Taylor Swift comment might have been a bridge too far.
Might have been. Speaking of new standards, and we touched on this monetary thing, there is something that I wanted to pull up. Not a financial advisor. I'm not making any predictions, but I saw this and I thought that this was interesting. We've been seeing this meteoric rise in like gold and silver. Let me pull up the chart. There's your silver chart over the last 5 years. There's the gold chart over the last 5 years. Absolutely parabolic runs on both of them. But people are starting to get like really excited because it's like, ooh, silver's about to finally like break the high of 50. I think it hit 50. The Hunt brothers back in the 70s or the 80s tried to do a run on silver. And so we're finally starting to approach some of those highs. But what people aren't taking account for is that we've had a fuck ton of inflation since the last time we made a new all-time high in silver. And if you adjust for inflation, a new all-time high would actually be $668 an ounce. I'm not saying that silver's going to $600 an ounce.
He can guarantee it. This is financial
That sounds
advice.
like crazy talk. I would actually scoff if anybody were trying to tell me that. And here I am putting this out there, but it's true. The M2 adjusted all-time high, inflation adjusted all-time high is $668 an ounce for silver. So with everybody that's all like, oh, silver's at $48 an ounce, that's too much, I shouldn't buy. Well, you're wrong. You should be buying. Protect yourself, protect your wealth by going to atlasbullion.com/backlash. They've got gold and silver packages that you can sign up for where you get a silver or gold subscription.
And we're on commission.
We do make a commission. So please, if you would like to buy like $250,000 worth of gold,
that would be awesome.
That would be excellent. We would really appreciate that. It would be very helpful. But you can sign up for a diverse subscription or a silver subscription for as low as $55 a month, gold subscriptions for as low as $200 a month. They will also talk you out of trying to roll over your IRA or 401k into some sort of centralized gold or silver depository. But they do have that available if you would like. They've also got options for your kids, little legends or legacy builders if you want to teach your kids about the value of hard, real money that can't be printed out of nothing, deflated, debased, or generally squandered by the grift machine.
The grift machine.
Check out atlasbullion.com/backlash.
Is there a better word than grift?
No, it's perfect. I mean, the whole
love it.
thing.
I use it all the time.
It's self-supporting. It's all self-sustaining. They're voting to give themselves more money. Look at Nancy Pelosi, for God's sake. It's you get elected and then you do what you can to make as much money while you're in office and ensure your reelection. And it's like, Jim Risch, for example, he didn't even get fucking elected. Right, Larry Craig got caught in the bathroom stall jingling the keys.
That's
remember?
right.
And they asked him to. They kicked him out, and they replaced him with Jim Risch. And then Jim Risch has won re-election every time. Why? Because he uses tax dollars to send out election mailers to every household in Idaho. So
they would call this a self-licking ice cream cone.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I did not make that up.
It is good. All right, let's take a look at some Super chats.
$10 and up on Wednesday show.
Super duper. Hold on a second. Where is my? Hold on.
I don't think that our bar is incorporating all of the.
It's not incorporating the. I can't even see the ones
on my channel. Oh, do you want me to read the ones on my channel?
Not yet. Yes, but not yet. We do have 2 super chats from earlier. One was from Queensboro Bridge Enjoyer, who basically sent $10. It was $9.99.
We'll
Dave,
read it.
As Blonde's penance for last week's debacle, if Emily Yukas can convince Will Stansel to perform a sultry Marilyn Monroe-style happy birthday song for Blonde in studio, will you allow it? Many people are saying that Will is another Peter Steele, but with a master's degree in black people.
What is happening? What is this? How did you weave so many relevant internet topics into one? The Emily Yukas Will Stansel AI video, episode 1, is the funniest thing that I've ever seen. And I thought it was just like so niche and that it wasn't going to go anywhere. It's like going
trending
mega
on Twitter.
viral.
It was trending on Twitter yesterday.
Emily Yukas is the most talented, beautiful, genius racist on the dissident right. She's just the best.
We'd love to have her on the show.
We would. I'll DM her right now.
Warren too. We could bring them both on.
Can't forget about Warren.
We can do like a double collab or something.
Her IQ is 133.
Really? Mm-hmm. I've met my match. Queensboro Bridge Enjoyer also sent $10. The book Daniel McAdams referenced on Monday is Democracy, the God That Failed from 2001 by Hans Hermann Hoppe. It argues that democracy is doomed because of the short time preference ratio of the next election, while advocating private, racially segregated communities like what Arvol is doing as the true natural order. Queensboro Bridge Enjoyer, I love you, dude. You're great. These are some of the best super chats I think we've ever had. Very high IQ individual, Queensboro Bridge Enjoyer. Very good. Moving over to, I think we have the entropy up and running. So if you do want to send something on entropy, that actually will work. Going over to my power chats, which is like languishing, I guess, because of Blonde's channel now. Nobody's forced to use these like goofy super chat tools. We do have a big $50 super chat from Aggie Jet Pilot. Thank you very much. First, looking great, as always, Blonde. Second, I've had talks with my wife that Swift is a bad role model to girls.
She is.
She argues that she's better than other famous musical women. To that, I argue she's set too low of a bar if that's the baseline.
Yeah, totally.
You're right. She's wrong.
Yeah. All of these women are whores, as long as we can all agree on that.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, but I do have kind of an affinity for slut pop.
Now, I will say, as a musician coming from like a musical background, Taylor Swift is a very talented songwriter.
She sucks.
No, all you need to do is listen to 1989 by Ryan Adams. Ryan Adams, the country singer-songwriter, he went back over all of Taylor Swift's songs and re-recorded 1989 as like a country old-time thing with like a pedal steel and an organ. And it's fan-fucking-tastic. It's great.
So a man took what she did and then made it better?
Yes. I highly recommend 1989
That's not a testimony to her
Ryan
greatness.
Dave, is that sort of a clever way of saying you're a Swiftie?
No, I am not. I don't listen to music. Since I converted, I don't listen to music
just cutting
anymore.
through the morass of, there's this guy and he, she's great.
No. I mean, I love Ryan Adams. What was the Heartbreak? I think was the name of the album that he did. To Be Young.
Cameron,
Man,
do you
such
listen
great
to
music.
new music?
I don't listen to music. Since I converted, I like listen to Gregorian chant and like, that's about it.
Gregorian chant?
Hell yeah. That stuff goes it goes so hard. You have no idea.
Who's your favorite band? Is that too personal?
I'm a huge Cowboy Carter fan. I mean, I just can't stop listening to it.
I don't even know who that is.
I think he's joking.
That's Beyonce. Yes, I am. I looked it up because 10 years ago, somebody asked me about the new Beyonce album. I was at a party and this guy just randomly came up to me and said, what do you think of I was in DC, of course. And the guy's like, what do you think of the new Beyonce album?
I don't know.
And I was like, did not compute. I had no idea to fucking answer that question. I just stared at him. I didn't even answer.
I will say that.
Wait, he was going to answer.
Question, Rebecca?
What's your favorite band?
My favorite band. That's a tough
Look at
one.
him
I mean,
obfuscate like I just asked him something deeply personal about his life.
I like a lot of different kinds of music. I love the Police.
Ooh,
okay.
band.
All right.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Approved.
I like a lot. I love Led Zeppelin. It's one of my favorites.
Yes.
Foreigner.
Yeah.
Do you like bluegrass?
I like a little Phil Collins. I do not like country music.
Jeez.
I'm not into it.
No, not country music. Bluegrass. What about like Alison Krauss?
But I don't like country music.
You would have loved our old radio station, WHLM, back when that was on the air. It would have been right up your alley, Cameron. All of that.
I like jazz too. Chet Baker.
Okay, now
I like a lot.
All right. Okay.
As somebody who went to jazz school, I know jazz is a crock of shit, and it only makes sense if you're on dope. So
it's got no structure.
No, it's not good. It's not
That's
good
why
for
I
your
like it.
soul. Jews made it. It was jazz was
Cameron.
Jewish.
Jazz pop.
He had a strong start with the Police.
There's also in Europe they listen to something called electro swing. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. It's kind of cool too.
Yes. I would say I will recommend. I like these guys when I'm trying to work or something. French 79, very good, very like electronica, whatever. And it's like when I need to focus, I can like put that on and crank something out. Very good. And
that couldn't be what anybody asked for. Do you want me to?
Basically, my answer is Rebecca, I'm cool.
Let's see here. Book Track Grooves sent $10. 17 states are considered true no-fault divorce states where no fault is the only option available. What? You can't blame someone. There's 17 states where you can't blame your spouse for getting a divorce.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
I didn't know
that either.
Yeah, we need to get rid of no-fault divorce. That's such a problem. If I was ever elected, I would abolish it. Mike Hawk, 420 Blazing.
Hey, guy. He came over from the Matt and Blonde show.
$50 super chat. Blonde, your beauty and elegance knows no bounds and is only surpassed by your cunning wit. Dave, what are you thinking with those stupid glasses, you retarded spaghetti N-word? They make you look like a faggot in heat.
Did he just call you a spaghetti nigger?
Yeah. Yes, he did.
I've never heard that before. That is so funny.
I like it. I approve it. I'm going to use it.
See, you guys just don't understand what Dave's going for. See, I get the vibe that Dave puts out. He's going for tranny chic. I get it.
Tranny chic, I like
We're
it.
We're trying to corner a new demographic out there. Dave, he's leaning in.
No, I figured out like the psychology around people hating on Dave. Okay. So Dave clearly has oppositional defiant disorder, and you project that on people all the time. So it makes them want to oppose you. And so no matter what you're doing, even if it's pleasant and normal, people are like, fuck you, Dave.
Yeah.
And that's going to be your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
or it's just the glasses.
It could just be the glasses. I don't know. It's also because like I can if I wear the glasses and then I go out in real world and like wear normal glasses, people don't know it's me.
Okay, that doesn't.
No, that's bullshit. That's total bullshit.
Are you wearing a jumpsuit?
No, I am wearing a members only jacket. I am a member of. I am a member. I am wearing the jacket. We're good.
You're not just the president of the Hair Club for Men. You're also a member.
No,
That's
but
true,
my hair would not look the way that it does without our friends at North Idaho Tallow Company. They make a beard balm that I use in my hair as a pomade. It's wonderful. They've got soap, lip balm, skincare products that are made without endocrine disruptors, no additives, no preservatives, none of this goofy petroleum-based bullshit. And the best part of all is that we get a large portion as a part of their advertising budget. So when you buy their soaps, balms, or lip balm, you're not only going to smell great and look great, but you're also subsidizing the work that we do here at the Backlash. So please visit our friends at idahotallow.com. Now, Ninja Guinea sent $10 in Super Chat. Sorry, I can never watch live, but I always listen later. Sending some love. Dave, looking great. Not those glasses, though.
Oh.
You have no idea. See, this is all really just like a ploy to get more Super Chats if I wear the glasses.
Oh, smart.
Plus, that dumb Jew that clips us all the time, he likes to call me gay. So, if I wear the pink glasses, we'll get more clips, which means more promotion.
So
for
while
the show.
you were talking, you were on
process.
some crazy rant earlier, and I made a goal.
Maybe it's a secret audition you're giving to get into the Manosphere network, because all those guys wear shades all the time. I don't know why either.
I don't even know what Andrew Tate's eyes look like.
Really?
I don't know. He's always wearing sunglasses.
Does he? Well, no, he's got kind of like weird eyes.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen him without? He's
not an attractive man. Yeah, it's
kind of weird.
Bald, no brain pan in the front. He's real weird looking. Anyway, so while you were talking about whatever, I made a goal on Super Chat that if we get 20 Super Chats above $10, that you would dress up and dance like her video in Life of a Showgirl.
Life of a Showgirl.
Yeah. Like a little red thing.
Well, Halloween is coming up. Halloween is coming up.
Lucky for you, we're not going to make it.
Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the notification bell, like the video, and we will see on Halloween what winds up happening. God
Dave
knows.
just did the I'm being gay on purpose. Somebody in the live chat just said that. You guys are so funny. Let me know if you want me to do the Super Chats on my channel.
Yo Jimbo Rockford sent $10 on Power Chat. When blacks call you racist, they really mean you don't like me. Then they attach evil to it to compensate for their low self-esteem and overinflated ego. Offended by everything, accountable to nothing, will steal anything, and always up to something. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe I'm imbibing the hopium tonight, but there's a couple black guys that come up in my feed on Instagram, And they're pretty based.
Yeah.
They're asked like, hey, who would you deport? They're like, oh, yeah, mostly black people. I just don't like them. It's amazing.
There is a reason why black on black violence is like the highest.
Incredible.
They hate themselves.
Yeah.
Addicted to Drums sent $20. Some support. Thank you for the big super chat.
We appreciate it.
Robert sent $25 from that ICU nurse claiming the Jews get first dibs on organ transplants to the recent post of an American mother explaining how Yenta moms get taxpayer checks each month for 18 years as we go extinct. Anti-Jew sentiment is on the rise. Yay! Yeah.
I had not heard about this.
Oh, you haven't?
I knew that I wasn't an organ donor for a reason. When I got my license at 16, I told my mom, no. I'm not doing this. I don't want anybody to have my organs. I don't care if I'm dead. Also, it just seems like common sense that they would let you die for your organs.
They'll kill you for your organs. Yeah, absolutely.
Or be like, we're going to walk really slow over to this person that's in cardiac arrest.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Don't be an organ donor. Fuck the system. Let them all burn. Thomas Moore sent $11. A few times in the podcast, you've expressed consternation over Palestinian children. Say Palestine replaces Israel and wipes out the Druze and Bedouin community due to historical rivalries. I was just curious if you'd be nearly as animated. Well, the main question here, Thomas Moore, is our culpability in that. So if we were sending the Palestinians bombs, money, nukes, if they, I don't know, ran our government, bribed our politicians, I would have a problem with that.
Right.
I would definitely have a problem with it. But if we severed our ties with Israel and took back the money that we gave them, which, by the way, that's the new floor. I'm not just for ending the funding. These fuckers need to pay us back with interest, 33 or maybe 43.33%. That would be nice.
Well, they're famously financially generous, so I think that that's definitely going to happen.
No problem, yeah. If that doesn't work, we can always nuke them. But no, I would not have an issue.
There's internecine conflict going on all around the world all the time. It does not involve us because we're not allied to a specific country in that region that obligates us to be involved. So it starts and it ends with our alliance with Israel, period.
Amen. No, couldn't agree more. Bill Biz sent $50.
Hey.
Would love to see Emily and Warren on the show.
Hells yeah.
We
I'm
would
going
love
to message her right now. Actually.
Yeah, no, and Stryker, too. Eric. Do you have a problem with Stryker?
I don't know who that is.
Eric Stryker? Really? He used to write for WorldNet Daily. He was on TRS.
This all sounds vaguely
familiar. He does a podcast with Warren now called War Strike.
He's on War Strike?
He's Stryker. What the Yes, he's the second half of the name.
I watched Emily and Warren's podcast. Modern Politics is the one I watch.
Yeah, that's with Emily.
Yeah.
I don't watch that.
Okay, I don't watch War Strike.
I don't watch that
I've heard
either.
of War Strike.
I don't watch it either. But he's been a good guy. He's always nice. I text him.
I don't have a problem with that. Okay.
Yeah, we should have him on. Come on the show. What are you doing?
You and your yelling. Is your compression up?
My compression it's fine. Look, it's doing wonderful.
Wonderful.
Chad, how are we doing with the compression? Mike Hawk, 420 blazing. Sent $10. No, the glasses make you look like Bottom for Elton John. I don't really have a problem with what he says. Okay.
Bottom.
Well, there we go.
Okay.
Look, as long as we're getting
Linda,
attention.
That's what her name
even
is.
if it's negative attention, I'll take it. And now we are on to some of Blonde's super chats, which I do believe I can read. You got 20? We got 20? Oh, no. Okay.
No.
I can read these.
Lucky for you. You can read them?
Yeah, I can read them.
Great.
I think. I don't have whatever. That's very nice and neat.
Thank you. So tidy. This is David Brinkerhoff.
Are you starting from most recent to oldest? I'm going from oldest to most recent. Thunderstorm 9.
That's from the Monday show.
Sent $9.99.
That's from the Monday show.
How is that from the Monday show? It's in this show. He sent it right now.
I'm telling you, we read that on Monday.
Hail is the wishing good health on someone, and high is wishing good on someone. Andrew Tate looks like an angry turtle that lost his shell. That's the first one that I see. That's not from Monday.
No, Thunderstorm is from Monday. All European countries are occupied. That includes Russia is left. Right is a Skinner box. P.S. I like the glass pumpkin. That's for Monday.
The Backlash, this is from Lucien LeChance IV, sent $19.99. The Backlash is the best nationalist podcast on YouTube.
Woot.
Thank you.
We're trying.
Patelchka sent 100 euros.
Whoa, thanks.
What do you guys think will happen with the Israel-Iran situation now that they are seemingly working on a quasi-peace deal in Gaza Will the Eye of Mordor turn on Iran again in the near future? Happy to see Rebecca's channel monetized again. May it stay lucrative.
Thank you so much. I mean, I think that this supposed peace treaty is going to fall apart as it always does, and then the same thing that we had anticipated is going to happen to Iran. I mean, I don't think this changes anything.
No, I mean, I think we're going to see a re-escalation in Iran. We're going to see we are seeing escalation in the States.
Yeah, it's the clean break memo. They won't stop.
What
until
should
it's
I do?
realized.
Should we make a bet? Should we make a bet on Israel breaking the ceasefire?
I mean, I give them a week.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think we're going to be here in a month talking about the lasting peace and the peace framework. I think that whatever they're going to do is going to be performative. They're going to sign it. Because if Bibi Netanyahu literally does anything other than wipe everybody out and take over Gaza and annex the West Bank, Smotrich and his defense minister, Ben Gvir, they're all going to resign.
Yep.
They're going to resign, and he'll immediately be forced into a situation where they'll have to vote for a new prime minister. And the whole point of this is Netanyahu holding on to power. So he's not going to do that. He's going to appease his radical Zionist base. So this is going to fall apart. I'm calling it right now.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
Clip it, remember it. Let's see what happens.
The only path to peace is regime change in Israel. That's it.
Based. We only got 3 super chats on your channel.
That can't be right.
I read them all.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, everybody who super chatted on Rebecca's
Wait, no,
channel.
we've got smashing random keys. Due to Rebecca's rant about repeal the 19th, I would like to ask Dave to look up the books titled 50 Shades of Grey, Fourth Wing, and Morning Glory Milking Farm, all bestsellers in their category. Don't do that, Dave.
What?
Don't do it.
I don't. I know about 50 Shades of Grey.
David Brinkeroff says, Dave, in Ecclesiastes, the thing that hath been... Hold on, I'm kind of blind. Is that which shall be. There is no new thing under the sun. So why are you out here shilling the Jew coin like it's the second coming of money? Yeah, Dave, defend yourself.
Well, listen, you can sign. Oh, I didn't have it. I didn't have the camera on the right thing. My bad.
Were you going to talk about River? Were you going to use this as an opportunity to shill more?
Absolutely. You can buy Bitcoin with our friends at River Bitcoin using the link on our website. You have to do one of these puzzles where you solve the crosswalks. Holy fuck, how many of them are there?
You are shameless.
And you can create an account, whether you're an individual or a business, and every sign up gives us, I think, $5. And if you buy like $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, we get $15. So it's like not exactly a lot of money.
You guys might think that you're shaming Dave, but really everything is just an opportunity for him to shill.
Once you've bought Bitcoin, you're going to need to secure it with a Blockstream Jade hardware wallet from our friends at Blockstream Corporation. You can use our link on our website under the affiliate section, and you can secure your Bitcoin. Also, if you're interested, you can buy some beef snacks. Beef snacks with no bad ingredients, very good for
just
you,
beef
very
snacks.
tasty.
Why don't we just do Antelope Hill?
Well, why not? I mean, they are America's premier right-wing dissident publisher. This is their website.
Oh, hey.
Here it is. It's working. It's good. They are America's leading publisher of dissident, right-wing, and radical books, and they're fighting to keep history alive amidst this regime of anti-white censorship. They've got a whole new generation of right-wing philosophers, researchers, polemicists, and writers, and they have an eclectic catalog that includes veteran right-wing authors and academics like Carrie Bolton, Dr. Ricardo Duchesne, and Paul Kersey, as well as newer figures like Lord Miles Routledge of Afghanistan. Is he dead or not? Did we find out if he was dead?
He's not dead. No.
He's not dead.
He was in an Afghani hospital the last time. He got to day like 33.
Okay. Wow. 33-day fast. That's pretty incredible. And Josh Neal and Christian Secor, in addition to a long list of original translations or modern reprints of otherwise inaccessible historical works from eras such as Fascist Italy, National Socialist Germany, and even medieval Europe. The original works include groundbreaking investigations into the causes and funding behind transgenderism and the opioid crisis, books on Christian nationalism and American folktales. Additionally, Antelope Hill also contributes to the regeneration of our culture and the rebirth of our family values through their top quality fiction, including books like Let Them Look West and World Separated, and a collection of beautifully illustrated and wholesome children's books. Whatever your interest is, you're bound to find books that you like at Antelope Hill, all professionally published. Professionally published and with cover art that will grace your bookshelves. Help us and help our people by checking out companies that share our values and work to preserve the birthright of our history. Visit antelopehillpublishing.com.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for this interesting discussion. We really appreciate it.
I don't think we're entirely done yet.
We are on my end.
Yeah, I know. I think we got one more.
Dave, you are a scholar, but you are no gentleman.
I am definitely not a gentleman. Yeah, we did get a couple more super chats, big ones too. Tiger Shark sent $50. Cameron, your revolutionary high IQ seriousness. This one's for you. Dave, you're great. Rebecca, thanks for covering up. Not that I ever look below your lovely face and piled high blonde hair. Psst, get Emily K. Muros, Isabel P. of Spain. Kai Muros would be an interesting guy. I remember listening to him in 2015. And there is a group, I haven't brought it up with Cameron yet, but I'm going to bring it up right now.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
What?
Oh, sometimes people will send me really normal messages in my DMs.
And then sometimes they send you dick pics.
Yes.
That's a dick pic.
And that's what just happened, yeah.
I don't want to see that. Cameron, if you do in your European travels happen to go to Spain, I would like to encourage you to see and scope this group out, Nucleo Nacional. I believe, no. I don't want to see that. That was AI anyway. That was an AI. It's an AI dick. Don't look at that. That's
Why do you guys do this?
Why would you send, what is wrong with you?
No, I'm just going to get more.
What's wrong with you?
My DMs are just filled with dick
I
pics.
do want to get an interview with these guys, Nucleo Nacional. This is like a Spanish nationalist group. They're incredibly based, and I believe Isabella Peralta is, look, right there. She's on the poster. So Nucleo Nacional is her group. They're very based, Catholic, Christian, and they are fighting the degeneracy. I think they're a little bit more based than the Vox party. Vox is pretty gay, from what I understand.
All the mainstream parties aren't, they're not based, is what you guys would say, but who cares? We're on the path, gentlemen.
Sorry. My bad. I didn't mean to blow your ears out.
Oh, no. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, you didn't?
What was that, Dave?
So this is one of these demonstrations from Nucleo Nacional.
Luzca caía sobre el frío suelo de un vagón, sin una sola mano que le ofreciese su ayuda. Después de estos acontecimientos, hemos visto la preocupación de los medios de comunicación, no tanto por el asesinato de una joven inocente, sino más bien porque ello valdrá para justificar los discursos de odio. Porque los profesionales del racismo como nosotros parece que esperamos con ansias que cuando se anuncia un crimen, se desvele también que el autor de los hechos ha sido un inmigrante. Pues bien, yo les pregunto a ellos si no es acaso importante, en la licencia que nos presenta la afirmación del asesino de Irina, he dado caza a la chica blanca, advertir que ha dado caza un hombre negro. ¿No es acaso importante recordar que los violadores que hace unas semanas destruyeron la vida de una niña de 14 años?
Anyway, I don't speak Spanish.
That was me. Hey, they're pissed off in Spain because they've got a lot of African migrants.
Didn't she go to jail? Didn't they throw her in jail?
Was it for her?
She hailed Franco. It's a very normal thing to do in Spain. Franco isn't, but Uncle A.
But Franco, Mussolini, a lot of these guys are gaining, what's the right word? A newfound popularity, particularly among younger people in those countries. I mean, we really are experiencing a renaissance. It's very interesting to watch how a lot of these ideas that have been suppressed, or they've been, what's the right word, demonized, right? Propagandized for so long. But the archetypes, as I keep saying, right? We adapt, we overcome, we sift through all the bullshit, and the truth eventually comes out. And I think a lot of that's what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, I can attest to this because I put out a tweet over the weekend saying, how long did it take you to figure out that these were the good guys? And it was a little rage baity. There is somebody that should be up here that isn't. But there's only 4 slots for pictures. What am I supposed to do here? But anyway, it went super duper viral, 500,000 views, 3.3 thousand likes. People are definitely in the Franco was right, Mussolini was right. The other guy was right.
It is right is that violence of any degree, of any caliber, particularly if you live in a very safe environment, a safe space, right? It's viewed as wrong, no matter what the context is, understandably so. But as you dig historically, if you do your due diligence, you begin to understand why harsher measures were taken. That's one. The other is when you start to see your neighborhoods become unsafe, right? When you start to be affected by the mind virus of communism and its various iterations, then you begin to understand things more clearly. And I think that's what's happening with the youth, right? Because they're experiencing all of these problems firsthand, and they're trying to intellectualize it. They're trying to create a framework. And so they're digging back into history to find that, and they're finding answers.
Yeah. We have our last super chat of the evening. Thomas Moore sent $11. He says, unlike the IDF, the Palestinian Authority's security service is armed entirely by the United States. But Tom, buddy, that's not entirely true. The Palestinian Authority is not given lethal aid by the United States. Okay, we are not sending them bombs. We're not sending them guns. We might be training them like we do with a lot of different countries, but we aren't providing them with like 30,000-ton bombs. We aren't sending our planes over there. And furthermore, the Palestinian Authority is not in control de facto in Gaza, period. Hamas is in control of Gaza. Hamas won the last election, and it's the Palestinian Islamic Jihad that has been the primary issue when you want to talk about something like October 7th. That's Islamic Jihad, which is a group in Gaza. It's a subgroup, like the Qassam brigades are a subgroup of Hamas. So to call the Palestinian, to try to equivocate the Palestinian Authority with Hamas on the one hand, and then also to try to compare what we do for Israel with what we do for Palestine is just very, very disingenuous. Starting to make me think you're a Zionist. I'm starting to think.
Please keep giving us money.
Please keep giving us your money, though.
If you go back to Jabotinsky, I think you mentioned him earlier, Dave, and you read his book. I think it's called The Iron Wall, something, or read his essay rather. Basically, what he argues is that there is no such thing as a two-party state or some kind of cohabitation. It cannot happen. It cannot exist. And therefore, liberal Zionism, and to the extent that liberal Zionism existed, according to Elon Pape and other people like that who I trust, liberal Zionism died 20 years ago. But for a time, it was a legitimate thing. These were Jews that believed in some kind of a two-party or two-state solution. That's completely gone. And now the state of Israel reflects what Jabotinsky said, I think, in the 1920s, which basically was, look, we're not going to come to any kind of an agreement with the Arab population whatsoever. However, the Palestinian Authority, I believe Hamas itself, right, the PLO, as well, all said under certain circumstances that they could come to some kind of an agreement with the Israelis and there could be a two-state solution. The Israelis today regard that as impossible. So there you are.
Yeah, the Israelis will not accept any solution other than a one-state, ethno-state, greater Israel solution. By the way, I just wanted to point out, this is like the second time we brought Zev Jabotinsky up, so it's like, oh, let's pull up his Wikipedia. Look at how they have him listed. He's a Russian-born author, poet, orator, soldier, and founder of the revisionist Zionist movement, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, he was a murderer. He was a terrorist.
Yeah, look at his face, though.
He blew people up. He killed people mercilessly.
Check the early life. One day,
look at his face. He's got this stare. He's got this like stare of like a guy who's killed.
Yeah, what you're looking at is a Bolshevik.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, 100%. This guy was no bueno.
Hatred, the radicalization. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thomas Moore sent $11. We're not going to, this is it. This is the last one. Thomas Moore sent $11. No, you made the statement that once Palestine state exists, the United States will have no responsibility for it. This is Orientalism, that some kind of nature has been restored. The U.S. would be responsible as they are responsible for Iran.
What? No.
What? Bro. How old?
Why would we be responsible for that?
How old are you, bro? How old are you? He's not going to, it doesn't matter. We got to wrap it up anyway.
Wait, can you go to that second picture? Look,
what, this
the
one?
old trope is true. Eyes above ears, something to fear.
Eyes above ears? I know, like red on black, friendly Jack, red on yellow, deadly fellow. That's for the, that's for the actual snakes. This is what? Eyes below ears?
Eyes above ears, something to fear. It's about the Jewish phenotype.
They have ears lower than their eyes?
Yeah.
That's weird. I've never noticed that.
Low set ears.
I have noted they have like a stiff upper lip thing sometimes when they
look at that.
They smile.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's not good.
On that note,
enjoy your evening.
One day you won't need early life. I'm there. I can just look at somebody.
Don't
and be
forget
like,
to Nicotine Max. I didn't say the brand.
These are not our sponsors. Dave just compulsively shills.
Yet.
Because people hate it and he has to find opposition.
I'm just going to put on my Taylor Swift album and go to bed.
Yeah.
Unironically. And by the way, we've got some big shows coming up for you. We've got, who the hell is coming on?
Are you serious?
We have some big shows coming up for you.
This is Dave's month, by the way.
Big shows coming up for you. Lucas Gage is going to be with us on the 13th. That's next Monday, so tune in for that. Then we've also got Pacific Northwest Gorilla.
Sweet, everyone's jazzed.
He's going to be coming on for that. Maybe doing a little collab in town. Maybe we'll do some man on the street stuff. And then I'm still undecided on the 27th. I haven't been able to get a hold of Kevin McDonald. So we need to double down on that. Maybe I'll do a drive-by at his house.
Okay, that's not creepy at all.
Go door. I mean, door knocking. It is around Halloween time. I could knock.
You're just going to show up in a costume.
Knock, knock. Hey, can you come on my podcast?
Last in your Taylor Swift.
Yeah, really. Thank you guys. We will see you on Monday.